Hello everyone and welcome to the European Cricket Network. We've got a tri-series between the USA, Canada and the Netherlands. This is going to be a mega series here at Kampong Cricket Club and at VCC Cricket Club to end the series. I can't wait to bring you all the action and it starts right now. A warm welcome to everyone here in the Netherlands for this tri-series. USA and Canada have flown across for some 50-over cricket and now they are ending their series with some T20 cricket. In the 50-over series, it was the Netherlands that went 4-0. How will USA and Canada respond in the T20 leg of this series? Look, let's talk a little bit about the weather conditions. It is very blustery and it is very breezy today. We had a lot of rain this morning, but thankfully it has dried out thanks to the Kampong ground staff who have been here all morning working tirelessly. Look, with this extra breeze, which is going to be going left to right on your screen, it's going to be very interesting to see how the captains work with their fielding zones and what a pass score is. It could be between that 150 to 170, but we're going to have to wait and see because the wicket does look pretty true. These teams obviously had the T20 World Cup earlier in the year. Canada with an amazing win over Ireland. Netherlands, they pushed South Africa, they pushed Bangladesh, but they just couldn't get up over the line. So this is quite a difficult game to call. I think the Dutch will go in slight favourites, but I wouldn't go past this very good Canada team to see if they can get the W. Overall, it should be a very exciting tri-series. I'm with Andrew Leonard and Vinny Sandhu for the series, but let's go to Andrew Leonard now with the captains for the coin toss.
Time for the toss here, the start of the T20I tri-series. The Netherlands, the home side, are going to be taking on Canada at this wonderful Kampong Cricket Club in Utrecht. The captains alongside me, Scott Edwards, is joined by Nicholas Curtin of Canada and the ICC match referee who's come in and joined us from Ireland. Want to give it a toss there, please, Scotty? Tails is the call. Phil Thompson will have a look at that. Tails it is. Okay, Nick, you've won the toss. Could you just come in here, mate? What are you going to do, please, and why?
We're going to have a bat first. Looks like a good pitch, so I think that we can give the batters a chance to just have a free hand today.
Having not picked up a win in the ODIs, are you actually quite pleased with the change of format now? You see this as a chance to express yourself. What are you trying to achieve in this T20I tri-series?
Yeah, just to kind of continue where we left off from the World Cup, I think we had a good campaign. So just, as I said, for the batters to come out, be positive, try to enjoy the cricket a little bit, and then obviously, hopefully, the result takes care of itself from there.
I think you had 4 changes between the squads from ODI to T20I. Are there many changes here today? You do have a potential debutant in the squad. What's your starting 11?
Yeah, so the only change, actually 2 changes from last game. So Rayan Pathan comes in, obviously he came into the squad, and Ravinder Paul Singh also comes back into the team today.
Well remembered. Nick, nice to see you always. Okay, Canada are going to have a bat first. We'll chat now to Scotty Edwards. Scotty, you just come in here, mate. What would you have done?
I was sort of expecting to lose a toss again there. No, again, we were going to have a look. We were going to look to bowl first, so it's actually worked out quite well for us. Yeah, I think with the breeze around and things like that, you know, the wicket's been under covers, so yeah, hopefully it provides a little bit of assistance early.
You stayed perfect in the ODIs, but this could be a very different challenge for you in the T20Is. Both of these sides you'll play against, Canada and USA, are very dangerous T20 sides. What are the goals for this series for you?
Yeah, I think for us, it's obviously the start of our World Cup preparation. You know, we've obviously got the qualifiers next year and a fair few T20s in between now and then. So, yeah, for us, that's the start of the journey. So, you know, get some things right. You know, we felt like we left a little bit out there at the World Cup. So, yeah, hopefully set a few of those things right.
It's a breezy day as well, isn't it? You can feel it piling across us. You too are a potential debutant. Can you give us some team news?
Yeah, we've got Zach Lyon-Cachet coming in for his debut. Yeah, really excited what he brings. He's been amazing around the group, and yeah, hopefully plenty of runs for him today.
Looking forward to seeing how he goes. Thanks, Scotty. Okay, that's the news from the middle here. Canada, they keep winning tosses. They've won 5 on this tour. Nicholas Curtin, he's won the toss, and he's going to bat first.
Thank you very much, Andrew Leonard, and welcome everyone around the world for this tri-series T20 action. 6 matches for here in the beautiful Kampong, which is located in Utrecht, centre of the Netherlands, and then 2 in Voorburg. And looking forward to seeing how this pans out. These teams pretty evenly matched, if you ask me, and a bit of blustery conditions. If we have a look at the two lineups, I loved what the captain said, Nicholas Curtin, saying, I want to have a bat first, I want to be aggressive and get the runs on the board. And Scotty Edwards, the Dutch captain, also saying, well, it's been under covers for a little bit, wouldn't mind a little bit of a bowl. So the captains are happy, the teams are happy. So I welcome back co-commentator for the day, Andrew Leonard.
Yeah, very good afternoon, my friend, and good afternoon to everyone. Great to be with you. Great to be back with you. Yeah, been a while, isn't it? It was May we were together for the Tri-Series. There are the two sides. Plenty of changes. There's actually 4 changes to both squads, but to the starting 11, I did say well remembered to Nicholas Curtin, but he's got it slightly wrong. There's actually 3 changes to his team. Ryan Pathan comes in. He's one of the men who's come into the T20I squad. And then the 2 other changes from that last ODI, Ravinder Pal Singh and Jeremy Gordon, the big, tall, fast bowler, the veteran who I was really surprised not to see him used in the last and final ODI there, given the bounce, the somewhat unexpected bounce that they were getting at VOC. And then plenty of changes too for the Dutch, just trying to work them out. The debutant's the big story with Zach Ryan Cachet, what a brilliant name, like you were saying off air. But Ryan Klein comes in, Daniel Dorham comes in, that's a massive boost. The left-arm spinner Saqib Zulfikar comes in too, and out go Kroos, Aryan Dutt, and a couple of others that we're going to work out.
Yeah, it's an interesting balance side with Ryan Klein coming into the side. They're obviously impressed with how much his batting has come along. Very exciting for Daniel Dorham as well. We know that he went through that very upsetting hand injury just before the World Cup and missed out, unfortunately. So great to see him back in national colours. And Zach Ryan Cachet, you are correct, it is a fantastic name. They're still trying to find a player to fill that Ackerman-sized hole and that Engelbrecht-sized hole. So we'll have to wait and see how these players go today as, well, the officials make their way out on what's been an interesting weather morning. We had a lot of rain this morning, Lenny. Thankfully, looks like we'll get a full game in.
Yeah, really good job done by the ground staff here.
Can we show the players walking
Out come the 2 umpires. We've got the 2 domestically based umpires now with Rizwan Akram and Nithin Bathi will be standing. The Dutch are going through their pre-game huddle, just getting an idea of how this Canadian batting lineup might go. It'll definitely be Aaron Johnson out there with Dilpreet Badri. You can see the broad-shouldered Johnson striding to the crease. And the youngster Badra, who had, well, Corey, if I called it a horror show, final ODI, that would be generous. Dropped a dolly of a catch, maybe conceded 15 or 20 in the field, including one through his legs to the boundary, one through a long barrier as well that found the small hole. It was just a day to forget, but he's got plenty more time. And remember, the only Centurion in the entire GT20 that was taking place over the last few weeks was Dilpreet Badri in very difficult batting conditions in Brampton.
Yeah, I think this Canadian side will look forward to this T20 leg of the series. I mean, you were out there at the World Cup, Lenny, and they played some fantastic cricket, didn't they? They got up over the Irish, commiserations as always, but they played some fantastic cricket, as did the USA. So this T20 series for me, look, it could go any way. It's going to be interesting to see what the teams feel like at the pass score. Netherlands traditionally isn't the type of place you see the 200 to 220s. So it's going to be very interesting to see what a pass score is, how they adapt to it, and how they go about it.
I think the single biggest factor today, outside of how the pitch plays, and obviously historically they've had a few issues here at this ground, but I know the work that's been done to get it better and better. It's a very low-lying ground with the river just behind a canal to the side. But the biggest factor is going to be the wind, Corey, and it's hard to get across how blustery it is. There was actually a wind warning from the Dutch government today. And if you want to know where that wind is going, as it's even buffeting our camera around, it's kind of piling over Vivian Kingma's left shoulder. So it's heading towards what is fine leg now. So it means from this end of the ground, you're not really going to be able to target down the ground too much. And the biggest factor as well, Nicholas Curtin, the left-hander, hitting over his favourite long-on cow corner region from the far end of the ground, well, that could be a real potential for Canada to pick up lots of good runs.
Yeah, and it comes down to some players that might have the more cute shots, the little ramps, the deflections, getting in and under the ball, maybe getting it over fine legs, definitely an option today. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how these teams handle the breeze. It looks like a small delay, as they're going to need those sight screens maybe just moved over a little bit. Yeah, boy, I'm looking forward to this, Lenny.
It should be really good.
This is going to be a very good tri-series.
And lots will wonder what's on the line here. We heard both captains talk about their journey towards qualification for the next World Cup. The USA have the golden ticket. They finished in the top 8. They'll be at the next World Cup in India and Sri Lanka. These two will aim and strive to qualify for it, as Kingma is all set to go. Starts with the leg side wide. Look at the wind immediately impact that. Scott Edwards puts one down on his home turf on a special day. It's a birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday to Scott Edwards, the birthday boy. I can confirm he went out for a nice birthday breakfast this morning and he was in
did you?
good spirits.
If you're just tuning in and you don't know, not only does Scott Edwards and Max O'Dowd live together, they live together with my co-commentator, Corey Rutgers.
There'll be no bias in the commentary today.
Well, that's why I went with purple. I said I can't go orange or I can't go red. I'll go with a mix of the two right in the middle. So Johnson on strike, Badger at the non-striker's end. And again, that's going to be 4. That's where the wind is piling down, and that's why he doesn't even move in the chase as Kyle Klein. It's going to be leg buys, but a nice start for Canada.
Yeah, runs are runs, and it does fly away just a little there. I know it's only 2 deliveries, but the ball has really kissed the wicket and kicked through a little bit. Sometimes Kampong can be notoriously slow, but it looks like that ball's just sort of skidded on off the wicket. So winning the toss, electing to have a bat first. I like the confidence from the Canadian skipper, Curtin. They'll be looking to pile them on here today. They were very, very good at the World Cup, I thought, Canada.
Yeah, look, they beat Ireland and they deserve to beat Ireland. Ireland got their bowling plans a little wrong. Josh Little in particular, given all of his world-class quality, was just too full. It was I'm going to call it a difficult batting wicket. It was actually even rated as so by the ICC. Vivian Kingma not getting his bowling plans right to start with here.
Well, we were talking about the breeze a little bit and what the batters are trying to think as well. Look, I was never a fast bowler, and I'm not too sure you were either. But running through a sort of blistering breeze, left to right, very swirly conditions, not easy. So Kingma just struggling a little bit to find his rhythm.
These two sides have met 3 times in T20Is. The head-to-head is 1 win for Canada, 2 for the Netherlands. The Dutch being perfect throughout the ODIs, I want to keep that streak going, but they've, well, by their standards, particularly with the ball, which is their strength in the ODI series, they've started very tardily. And that wind, it's going to play havoc. I think it's hard for us to get across just how strong the breeze is. I don't know, is it 20, 30 miles an hour? But because it's coming over Kingma's left shoulder, it's driving everything down that direction.
Yeah, it's going to take a little bit of adjustment here for the quick, fast bowler from the Netherlands, and obviously maybe a little bit in shock at his start here. He's usually very consistent, a bit of a metronome, but as you've mentioned, that breeze left to right on your screen is pretty violent at the moment. So if you are a batter and you do get under it on the leg side today, it is going to fly.
Probably won't believe this, Corey. These two have not met in a T20I for 12 years. Another one that's leg side. I suppose the brilliance of Cricket World Cup League 2 has been well advertised and well publicised as part of the pathway towards the 2027 World Cup. This is one of the big changes to that format. It's not mandatory that these T20I tri-series are being played additionally, and it's being worked out trilaterally, if that's a word, between the 3 boards. But we're going to see more T20I series than not after the ODIs, and that can only be a good thing.
I think that's good for the game, isn't it? It's a long way to travel if you're going to be playing this World Cricket League 2 for the 50, so adding some T20s to the end of those series is just going to give well, a little bit more flavour to it.
Again, down the leg side, Kingma has not got his line right, and he's none too pleased by it. So if you're wondering what's on the line, it's a triangular series trophy. They each play each other twice, so there's 6 games in total, 4 games per team. There's really bragging rights, but also critically, there's T20I rankings points on offer, and if you look at how Ireland squeezed into that final automatic spot from this World Cup, where they didn't have a good World Cup, it can be very important. And if you look at the ranking sage, Bertus de Jong, has told me the Netherlands or USA in particular could get into the mix for that.
Rankings, it's always in the back of your mind. It always comes to be important at some stage.
Overcorrects, and I'm not quite sure how he's got away with that.
Oh, geez, go buy a lottery ticket. I think that was a big wide, but gets away with it. But yeah, you're right, Lenny. The rankings always seem to get sort of that pops up at an interesting time when teams need to get the automatic qualification or they start considering. It'll be interesting to see if teams, because they're playing more tri-series and bilateral T20, start thinking about the rankings just that little bit more, because for me, it always feels like it's an afterthought. It's like, oh, hold on, we can qualify for this if we start doing the rankings. But if they start focusing on it now, you could get an automatic spot in the future.
That one jags back in far too high for any serious appeal. If you're wondering what rankings we're talking about in terms of getting automatic qualification or something, it's for the 2028 T20 World Cup, because again, if it follows the same structure will end up with a cut-off at the end of the next World Cup, which is held in India and Sri Lanka. Then the 2028 edition, which will be down in Australia and New Zealand. It was so close in Voorburg in May that if the Dutch had a brilliant series, or Scotland had a brilliant series, they'd now be automatically at a World Cup instead of Ireland.
Yeah, absolutely. And now the Netherlands next year will have to play Italy, Jersey and Scotland, and one more still remaining in the European qualifiers.
It's the sub-regional C qualifier as Kingma gets away with another one. It's been very erratic to start with, never easy on a blustery day. That tournament's going on in Guernsey. You can catch all the action for that on ICC TV, but it's great to be back on the European Cricket Network with live T20I action. And I suspect we're in for a thrilling series. I said it to Scott Edwards off air. I said, I don't think you're going to win all four here. And he goes, we'll be trying.
Yeah, that's typical Scott. He's a very confident captain. So I wonder what Johnson's thinking at the moment here. I don't think he knows where this is going, and either does Kingma. Not easy to face up sometimes when the bowler's spraying it this much.
Well, he's none off 5, but it doesn't really tell the story so far. Again, gets away with one that flirts with that wide line. It's 8 runs from the opening over, 4 against the bowler. Doesn't really explain what's just happened. Canada 8 for none and off the mark. Why have they opened the bowling from this end of the ground, given that it will leave the 20th and final from the far end, where the batter's going to be hitting with a gale force wind?
I think it's probably just a rhythm thing. I think Kingma traditionally has bowled from this end, and sometimes you do go to your premier fast bowler. What end do you want? You let them, you back them in. So you did see in that last delivery, he did get that to hoop a big way. So yeah, small margins, as it looks like Paul Van Makeren is going to bowl from the city end. And well, I didn't get to catch too much of the ODIs, but from all reports, he was bowling rapid.
He's bowling rockets, he really was. It's alongside a couple of other spells. One I saw him bowl against, it was actually against Ireland and Bangladesh up in Dharamsala, two different spells in the T20 World Cup up there, both in abridged games. And then at the T20 World Cup in 2021 down in Australia. When he gets it right, he is world class. And it was fearsome, it was aggressive, and very penetrative too. Different kind of role for him in the T20I side. In the ODIs, he was used in the second power play in the middle overs, being given the new ball here.
Yeah, I think that with the new ball as well, he can always get through that top order. We know what top order wickets do in that T20 sort of format. 2 or 3 in the power play usually sets you on your way to victory, so they don't want to hold him back to be an enforcer in the middle. They've got an array of spinners as well, the Netherlands, obviously, with Durham in the lineup, Saqib Zulfikar, and also do look out for the debutant Takline Cachet. From reports, they do want to have a look at his right arm off spin. Aryan Dutt hasn't been selected, which is surprising to me, so they're going to back in Cachet today.
There is movement off the surface, isn't there? Lateral movement, another one that flirts with the wide line. It's probably the big surprise, isn't it? No Aryan Dutt.
Let's have a closer look at this one, Andrew. Have they gotten away with a couple, or is that just late swing?
I know I'm having a look back at the umpire if I'm the batter, although actually maybe I'm not, because it's Paul Van Makeren. I don't mind if there's a ball less for him to bowl. Yeah, it's a really blustery day. You can see it buffeting the shirt there of Johnson at the non-striker's end. First runs off the bat will come past a diving Michael Levitt, and it will come a little bit aided by the breeze. It's kind of pushing across that way, and it's going to be a stylish square cover drive for 4.
And our first real look at the outfield, to be fair, and it's scooted away. Sometimes out here, Lenny, when you do get that morning rain, it actually quickens up a little bit, just skids off the turf, and that raced away. So nice shot. First runs off the bat, thankfully. And a nice little start here for Canada. Looking to pile on the runs here and make a bit of a statement as Scott Edwards changes the field straight away. Third man has come into the ring and point goes deep.
Better length this time from Van Makeren. Nice little crowd has come in. There's even a few little temporary, are they temporary stands or are they permanent stands?
Temporary stands. They've been brought out for today. A little VIP section to the right of our little dugout as well. And yeah, it's a nice sort of day to come and watch some cricket. We don't get enough cricket in this country sometimes, but one thing I'm really enjoying so far, I don't know, did you call the games here a few years ago with Ireland coming out to Kampong?
No, I watched them all though. I'd watched every ball of it.
Well, now, one thing I've noticed straight away, we had big issues with the carry. Right now, there's a beautiful carry in this week. This is really good bounce.
It was a very low-scoring ODI series, that one in the Super League. Yeah, the surface just looks better as well, doesn't it? It really looks like it's It's going to be conducive to run scoring. There's going to be 2 surfaces that we'll use. Probably this one for the first and second game, then we'll move 2 across. You had an Antipodean twang, the groundsman. Where's he from?
I think it's a bit of UK born, but been in Netherlands most of his days, I believe.
The young guy.
No, I'm talking about Sebastian, the old one. Well, what people need to know at Kampong Cricket Club, there's about 3 or 4 volunteers that do it.
Amazing.
Sorry, you're talking about Ben. He's from New Zealand.
I thought
Yes.
I was going to say he can't be English.
Yeah, I was going to say. I thought you were talking about Sebastian. I was thinking, that doesn't make any sense. No, there's a lot of good people at Kampong Cricket Clubs. A lot of volunteers come out and help out to get the pitches up and do a lot of good work out here. And there's a big membership actually at Kampong. It's not just cricket. It's hockey, it's squash, there's football up the road. There's plenty going on.
That is probably going to be a wide, too short. They don't want to go full to Johnson. They saw what happened when they did bowl full to him. Yeah, I heard the most remarkable stat as well this morning when we came along to the ground. Over 6,000 members of this sports club. And like you said, a lot of those are hockey, about 3,500 of them in the hockey, but it's one of the largest sports clubs anywhere in Europe.
Yeah, it's absolutely massive, especially the hockey here. The Kampong hockey always hold a lot of the world championships. I think Germany were over not long ago, and yeah, Dutch hockey actually at the World Cup did very well. So yeah.
Very well is an understatement, isn't it?
Extremely well.
Gold medals in men's and women's. This has been a sloppy start. I have to say, the Dutch, we were wholesome in our praise throughout the ODI series because they bowled and fielded and stuck to game plans exceptionally. They've been really tardy.
I don't want to say we're on the ECN network and you see a few funky things, but this has been a very, very sloppy start from a very, very good and well-drilled T20 team. And Scott Edwards, obviously the captain, and it's his birthday. He'll be feeling good, but I know him deep down. He'll be a bit red about this. This is a sloppy start. We've only had 5 runs off the bat and they're on 16.
It is the wind, isn't it? End of the second, it's 16 for none. The wind is causing the problems.
Yeah, it really is. We're seeing the ball go everywhere, and when they do get it right, it's actually swinging a ridiculous amount. So that ball there, shaped from the hand and just kept on going. Maybe missed out on a bit of a half volley. As we have a look at the early table, obviously USA sitting at home, and well, I'm very excited to see USA play in the T20 format here on Dutch soil. They were magnificent at the World Cup, Lenny.
Yeah, superb. There is no Sarah Netravalker here. He remains on paternity leave. But Andreas House, who is a world-class ball striker and been in amazing form in the domestic circuit there in America too. He's the champion of both editions of Major League Cricket, winner of the GT20 as well. He's a gun player, and him alongside Johnson, probably the 2 most dangerous openers in the tournament.
Kyle Klein gets a chance here.
Throws into the pad too high. It's the thigh pad that's hit. This is very unlike Aaron Johnson to start with. He's got an amazing career strike rate, just can't get bat on ball at the moment.
Yeah, nice start from Kyle Klein. Obviously probably a bit high as well and maybe slightly outside the off stump. Kyle is more a hit the deck nip bowler, and he might be able to push through this wind a little bit easier than what Kingmar was. To expect to see Kingmar come back a little bit later. He was magnificent in that last ODI, Kyle, wasn't he?
Hacked into the leg side. It's going to be 4. Probably not Johnson's most stylish stroke. The bottom hand comes through, but it is effective, and it's his first runs with a boundary.
Oh, shot of authority, back of a length, and almost a standing sweep. Doesn't matter how you get him. You got enough of that. That did race away for 4. The outfield's quick. There's decent carry in this wicket, and it is blustery. Maybe it is a day for runs.
Career strike rate in this format, Corey, 160.
You take that any day.
There's not many above that in the world, whether it be full member or associate. This has gone miles up. Paul van Meekeren is going to have a very, very challenging catch, but he's made it look easy. And Johnson hits 4, and now he's gone, and there's a roar of delight from Kyle Klein. Looked to get to the leg side again. It probably was a top edge, it flew off. This is a very good catch in the circumstances.
Yeah, brilliant catch from Paul van Meekeren. He's at mid-on. He has to go to his right about 15 metres, but considering the weather conditions, he actually made it look very, very easy. Good composure from the Dutch quick. And Kyle Klein coming into the attack. He just can't do anything wrong at the moment. Kyle's having a magnificent summer as a whole, and the first wicket goes down.
Well, you have to question the shot there, really, from Johnson, don't you? Because the wind is piling behind the bowler. And, okay, he might say he's trying to go over cow corner a bit squarer, But if you're trying to hit in any way straight, if that was over long on, hitting into the wind, close to impossible today, you'd expect.
Yeah, I want to have a closer look. Was he trying to go squarer with it? Look, I might give benefit of the doubt. Maybe he is trying to pick that up and go a bit squarer, and it's a little bit of a loose shot, and he skews it to mid-on. I think he might have tried to go with the wind, but in the end, it does cost him his wicket. There's Ryan Pathan. Looks like it's come out at number 3.
Yeah, in a first appearance for Ryan Pathan in a long, long time. He was in the squad for the T20 World Cup, or around it. I think he played one of the warm-ups, but he hasn't played a T20I in 3 years. So a bolt from the blue back into action. He's known as an incredibly powerful ball striker, 32 years of age. Has played 11 T20Is, again, good strike rate, up over 160. It'll give you an idea of his kind of power, but after what was a really disappointing GT20 for him, playing for Mississauga. Gonna be 2 and 2. It's another leading edge. There's almost a carbon copy to the dismissal. Klein continues his exceptional form, and the return for Ryan Campathan. It couldn't have gone any worse. He's gone for a golden duck.
What a peculiar start to this game. It was a full delivery, angling in. He looks for a similar sort of shot, a clip across the line. And just a leading edge. It's a soft dismissal. Max O'Dowd doesn't make a mistake. And Kyle Klein, honestly, domestically for RBS in the Pro Series, he is taking wickets for fun. And, well, there's the golden derrick just to walk you off. Never a nice feeling.
Yeah, something that's unique to the European Cricket Network, inspired by the days of World Series cricket of old in Australia. The golden duck, just to add insult to injury. And that is not going to be the kind of return to international action that Ryan Campathan would have wanted. I was just about to say, he's only scored 1 run in 3 appearances out at the GT20. But Kyle Klein, he's just continuing what he did throughout that ODI series. There's not much to him. He's, what, 5'10"? He's not particularly broad-shouldered.
Aggro. He's a fiery young man, and he's got a big ticker, Andrew.
Huge heart, doesn't he?
Oh, huge heart.
Yeah.
He has literally forced his way into this team through weight of wickets. I think I was telling you earlier in the year about the Pro Series.
Yeah.
He was probably the 5th or 6th in line. And I think he averaged about 8 that series with the ball, and he took something ridiculous like a 5 for 4 or something silly. And he's forced his way into this team, and now he's cashing in, and he's on a hat-trick. Could we get a hat-trick here to start this series?
What a start to the series it would be. He's going to have to get past Nicholas Curtin, Canada's captain, faces up to the hat-trick ball. And they're going to appeal for it because it's a hat-trick ball, but it's pitched, well, what, 2 stumps outside leg. It might not even get on to hit the stumps. Cannot blame the appeal in those circumstances.
I think that's one of those ones you hope the umpire was looking at something completely different, but pitched a mile outside the leg stump. But hey, look, Paul Vermakeren struggled with the wind. Vivian Kingma struggled with wind. Kyle Klein, credit to him. He's come in. He's taken 2 for 4. Netherlands well on top now.
He was battling some personal illness, you've got to remember, throughout that series. In a hot streak of form in the top class of 2 for HBS. 12 wickets there. And he's just got a very simple game plan. His job is to really hit the top of the stumps, challenge the stumps, and he's done exactly that. 2 wickets in his opening over. Canada, well, it's been a tour to forget so far, hasn't it? They've been really poor in phases. They've lost 4 from 4. We thought the change of format might help them, but not after this start. 21 for 2.
Tough change of coach, change of captain. Always takes a bit of time maybe to find a new mojo. And yeah, 21 for 2 now. Maybe a mini rebuilding phase, but you don't get that long in T20 cricket to do that.
That's not the batting order, just to emphasise that. I would suggest we'll see Sherry Asmova at number 5, Ravinderpal Singh at 6. Then, depending on the situation, either Sadbin Safar or Dylan Hayliger at number 7. Wait till you see Dylan Hayliger, Corey. He hits a monstrous ball.
I'm excited.
Yeah, him and Johnson are the 2 power hitters in the team. Kingma has a change of ends, hasn't helped his radar. Another wide outside the off stump.
Well, change of ends. Bowling from the city end. Still hasn't been able to find the mojo. The figures don't look too bad. None for 6, but it doesn't sort of tell the tale of the tape. Peculiar sort of start to this game so far. These teams obviously already played 450 over games. Just trying to find their T20 mojo here.
Keep your eye on our graphics as well. The expected score, that will change with the runs and wickets and overs as they go by. Supercomputer saying 129. That won't be enough, will it? you wouldn't have thought.
Not from what I've seen so far. Yes, there's been a few wides. The outfield looks quick though, but to be honest, I'm really impressed with this Kampong wicket. Even that delivery there, that's hit the bat hard. It is flying through, and for Dutch cricket wickets, that's actually pretty rare. Usually it's a bit of a grind to get runs. We watched Ireland, Scotland and Netherlands in the T20s earlier in May, and it was hard attritional cricket, but I think in this sort of pitch, if you get yourself in, you might be able to cash in.
I was impressed with VOC in a big way. Rotterdam have done a great job up there with their pitches. Edged and going to be edged away for 4. Not where Curtin intended it. He's an aggressive, dynamic player. He's had a horror start to his captaincy with the bat. He'd love a score today. Nice way to get off the mark, a little bit fortunately.
Yeah, runs are runs. Doesn't go in the direction he would have liked, but it flies through the inner ring as third was in the ring. So 4 to the total. King March is still trying to get that length right, that line right. No, but Lenny, you've had a good opportunity now. You've been to VOC, you've been to Kampong, you've been to VCC. There is quite a lot of beautiful grounds around here.
Stunning grounds, mate. Really, really impressed. And another wide. And even Edwards' glove work by its usual high standards a little tardy. So that'll be 2 more extras to the total. The thing that struck me the most, you've made your life your home here, and there's so many good things in Dutch cricket. It's a real community. There's wonderful volunteerism. The clubs are very proud of their clubs. At the end of those games that they hosted in VOC, every single person who was involved were all sitting together. There was speeches, there was thanks, there was mementos given out to everyone who'd been involved. It's everything that great associate cricket should be. I think the KNCB and the clubs in particular should be very proud.
Yeah, and a lot goes into getting these games up. You need the volunteers, you need that club support to get international fixtures on.
And the thing for me as well, Corey, it's exactly what a good club structure and setup should be. It really is. There's a lot to love about Dutch cricket, and I wish them every continued success. I think they're going to continue to be in the higher echelons of the associate game.
Yeah, look, obviously in the last few years they've accelerated at a massive rate, and that goes back to the community as well. You need the clubs to be on board with the KNCB to help that acceleration, and I think obviously you got to taste VOC, you've seen VC, now you've seen Kampong, and it is great to see the community get together for these games.
It's a beautiful delivery. Now Viv King was in a bit of trouble here.
He's picked something up, and just in the previous ball he started hobbling through after he let it go, and this really worries me, because if there is any fast bowler in the Netherlands, and we know they have a plethora of fast bowlers in the county system and here in the country, he's been the most injury prone. I know Brandon Glover is back into the squad, great to see after injury. You've got Ryan Klein, whose bowling has been hasn't bowled too much in the last year. Freddie Klaasen is still out, but I really hope Kingma hasn't picked up a niggle here, because he doesn't look at 100%.
It's a quad, if I reckon correctly. Now this thuds into the pad, half an appeal from Kingma. I think he might be trying to get through this over and then get off and get some treatment. He's limping, isn't he? He's in a bit of trouble here.
Yeah, I feel for him. He is really in the last few years pushed his body harder and harder, but boy, that doesn't look good. This could be the last ball of the day for him, and that'll mean Scott Edwards and the leadership group for the Netherlands might have to get a bit funky with their bowling combinations a little bit later.
Driven. Probably going to be a couple, as it'll be, well, a bit of a mix-up is going to allow a third. The Dutch have been nothing like they were throughout the 4 ODIs. I'm not sure, is it the wind or the change of format? There's been a lot of change to personnel, 4 new faces in. Kingma is going to walk off. He's limping very badly. And definitely going to see Shariz Ahmed, the subfielder, come on, and we're going to wish Vivian Kingma well.
Yeah, this is pretty upsetting scenes for the Netherlands and for Vivian Kingma. Yeah, there he goes, Lenny, and that just with a couple of T20s around the corner and in such a short space of time, that doesn't look good for his series. I hope he's okay.
So we will see subfielder Shariz Ahmed come on, the young wrist spinner. Going to go straight to George Dunlop, isn't he? Team physio will try to magic something. Curtin has had a challenging start to his captaincy. He was in the form of his life for the 12 to 18 months prior, probably the pick of all the Canadian players, and then they've lumbered him with the captaincy. Were you surprised by that?
Why do you think that happens? Why do you think people get the C next to their name, and sometimes people fly with it, but sometimes it really does affect someone as their own personal performance? What, do you just think that extra pressure, too many different thoughts?
Varies from person to person, doesn't it? He's very nearly bowled him now. Edwards is going to have a throw at the non-strikers end, but Curtin is so quick. I think he would have got home anyway, and he gives a big thumbs up to Dilpreet Badger for calling him through. Some absolutely love the additional responsibility, but I just thought it was surprising. It's not that he couldn't be a great captain in time. He's 26, and after not a great start to international cricket and his time in Canadian colours, he found his mojo. The Irish players told me he was, without doubt, the best opponent that they faced against Canada. I think he got 50 in that game. That always helps. Short ball, too short to be given as a wide, but it's not that he's strategically got a huge amount wrong, or it's not that I'm not being critical necessarily of his captaincy, but it has, for the moment, affected his batting.
Now look, let's hope for him that he can sort of find his way to be captain and also make those runs. Maybe it just takes that sort of breakout innings once you do have that C next to your name, and then he sort of runs with it. Obviously a changing of the guard after, I think personally, Saad bin Zafar did a very good job as captain for Canada over some time. Kyle once again. Hitting the deck hard, Kyle Klein. I know the talk around sort of the Dutch groups and the Dutch cricket circles is the thing that Kyle Klein brings a little bit differently. He hurries you up. You know when you hear those bowlers that just, they bowl a heavy ball. No one truly means, the ball weighs 156, Lenny. It doesn't change. But he bowls a very, very heavy ball, and he gets it to go late off the pitch. It's not really from the hand. So he's causing some issues here. This Canada top order.
Oh, now that is a beauty. It's as good as you'll see. He's got 3 in 10 deliveries, just shaped away, maybe held its line. It's Klein's world at the moment. We're just living in it.
Oh,
that is very special.
That is ridiculous. That is an absolute seed to cop to start the T20 series. I was just talking about how he gets that late movement. He hurries you up. And boy, oh boy, Kyle Klein is having the summer of summers. Have a look at this, Lenny. Oh, that's a lovely delivery. Just a little bit away. And there's that aggression. Kisses the top of the bails. Beautiful, beautiful bowling.
Well, they say it's a simple game. We just complicate it. You hit the top of off as a bowler, you're always in the game. Doesn't matter if you're a spinner, a seamer. But Klein, well, if there was a Player of the Series award for the ODIs, it would have been between him and Max O'Dowd. And I personally would have edged it Klein's way. Thought he was exceptional. And as you said, you described him so well, Corey. He's just got a massive heart, doesn't he? A big engine. He's loving his cricket. Likeable fella. He's going to go from strength to strength, you'd think.
The Dutch have found another one. They've got another one. I mean, this plethora of fast bowlers for the Dutch sort of men's cricket side is quite unbelievable. And he has forced his way in.
One more look at it here. Oh, it's so good, isn't it? You see, what's happened there, the wind, I know it's in a very short period. The wind's driving the ball in, and it looks like it's going to go in. So as a consequence, Badger's looking to score on the leg side, but then he just off the surface, it's not really necessarily nipped away, it's just held its line. And that's all it needed to do. The top of off is exactly where you want to go. Badger's the latest to go. He's gone for 5, 34 for 3, all sorts of problems for Canada. And Cherry Asmova was the rescue man in the ODIs. Can he do the same in the T20Is? It's excellent bowling, but you'd have to question a little bit of the Canadian techniques. All 3 batters have all come down with angled bats trying to play across the line.
Yeah, I think there's a very fine line between positive intent and sort of reading the match situation when a bowler's just on top of you. And right now, I think they might be thinking Kyle Klein's only got 13 balls left in this match. If we take him just for 13 more runs, that might be a W. At the moment, he is bowling some beautiful deliveries.
This one jags back in. That was what he did a lot during the ODI series, and I think he can be self-critical. He said after the second ODI, as you get to the end of the 5th, it's 34 for 3. He said that he felt he looked for wickets too much, he looked for the stumps a bit too much. His stock delivery is the one that goes in, isn't it? But he can get it to go both ways.
Yeah, he just kisses that wicket beautifully and he keeps that seam presentation perfectly to get it to nip in or nip away. Well, we have a quick little look at this tri-series. Obviously, we're here for Netherlands and Canada. Same time tomorrow. We're really looking forward to seeing USA and Canada. There is a little bit of rain around, so hopefully we get a full match in. First 4 games up until Monday are all here at Kampong. And then Vinny Sandhu will be back and he'll be out there at VCC with you, Lenny, and looking forward to those games at VCC. Another beautiful ground out in Voorburg, and yeah, interesting tri-series.
Yeah, not a bad time to remind you to get engaged, say hello on the live chat. We've got thousands watching concurrently live, really good numbers. We're really enjoying your company. Hope you're going to enjoy all of this series, as here's a debut bowl for the youngster. There'll be nerves for him. He is the most brilliantly named. You've got to love this, Zachley and Cachet.
Greatest name. The greatest name out of these 2 teams anyway. He'd be a little bit nervous on debut, but it's a brilliant name.
I've got to thank Bertus de Jong as Curtin goes slog sweeping over the leg side. It's an immaculate stroke. It's hitting with the wind. He'll consider there's 0 risk to that shot, and he gets 4.
Yeah, good shot. Brave batting. It was angled in. Oh, a real purchase off this surface, and the 2 boundary riders, a deep mid on and deep backward square. So safe shot. Yeah, it is a brilliant name, Lion Cachet.
Well, Rod Lyle and Bertus de Jong have done some etymology on the surname. Etymology is the origin of words, in case you're wondering.
Thank you, I am
what I'm on about. A little bit flatter, and Curtin looks for the leg side, can't get it. And actually, the first known instance of this surname is a quite famous Dutch painter, the end of the 19th, start of the 20th century, whose surname was Cachet, but by all accounts, added lion to the front of it. Just, I guess, to maybe stand out a little more, and then that's the first known instance of it, and it's kind of come down from there.
If you can add a lion to your name, you add a lion to Andrew Lion Leonard, there'd be a bit more respect.
Corey Lion Rutgers. I think Lion Rutgers is even better than Lion Leonard. Lenny Leonard. We'll stick with
Lenny Leonard.
Lenny Leonard's better.
Well, Lion Cachet's got a big opportunity here in sort of the Dutch cricket system. I know that Colin Ackerman unavailable and Engelbrecht's retirement. They're looking to fill a little bit of the right arm off spin, bat in the middle order role. He's got a big opportunity in this series.
He's part of a pretty healthy associate group there at Sussex. He's on full-time contract there. He did play quite a lot in the 50-over stuff, which is often where players will get their first chances now because the 100 takes place at the same time. Apart from that, he's mainly been in the seconds, but the 2 Currys from Scotland are both there, and I know they're very pro associate cricket. Jonty Jenner had some time too at Sussex, the Jersey batter. He's a pretty aggressive ball striker from what I gather.
Yeah, he is. That's a lovely little shot down the ground. They'll sneak away for 2. Yeah, he can be aggressive, but also can sort of play in different tones. So because of Ackerman not being here, and also, as I mentioned, Engelbrecht, I just think they want to find someone or identify someone in that 4 spot. They can also pull a couple of handy little right arm offies. So that does complete the power play with 3 wickets in there. Have say the Dutch ahead, 42 for 3, 17 extras. 17.
Yeah, that's shocking, and that's very un-Dutch, like I have to say. Across all the time I've ever watched them, I cannot remember a game with that many in a T20 innings, let alone in 6 overs. He was playing for Oxfordshire, and he did pick up some big scores in that. Centuries in all 3 formats caught the attention of Sussex. That's where he got signed across onto a rookie contract. Yet to make a T20 debut for them, but the 8 appearances in, I think it's the Royal London Trophy, or it might have changed, Metro Bank ODI Cup now or something.
Changes every year, Lenny.
Yeah, it does. Klein's going to bowl a 3rd, a good move, a positive move from Edwards. He'd love a 4th wicket. He knows how big the wicket of Curtin is in particular.
Yeah, and he keeps a slip in. I do like that. Scott Edwards has been, well, commended for the last few years over his captaincy. He always thinks pretty deeply about the game, does a lot of analytics as well with his coach Ryan Cook, and keeps the slip in, keeps Kyle going. It's aggressive from the Dutch skipper. They know if they were to go bang bang at 2 more wickets on the board for anything less than 60, they're well ahead.
I will say Curtin, for me, has the potential to be a world-class player. He's not there yet. But his fitness, his ball striking quality, his fielding, wait till you see him in the field, and the contrast as well, because Canada, particularly in this series, have fielded so poorly. He's a gun cricketer, this Nicholas Curtin.
I hope we see the best of him today. And you feel in this tri-series, if Canada are going to go close to even winning the little tri-series trophy, have we got a name for this tri-series? Has it been given a...
We'll check with the
We'll
KNCB.
double check. We'll check the KNCB. There'll be some little trophy on the line, but it'd be good to see the best of him over these 4 games for Canada.
Short ball, pulled away. Look at how quickly he picks the length up. One of the things I love about him, he's equally proficient scoring in the leg or the offside, and I know for a fact he will, with that favoured long on cow corner region, particularly off the spinners, he could take Netherlands apart from that far end if they get it wrong.
You know, it's going to be interesting because Netherlands obviously have Daniel Dorum and Saqib Zulfikar in the team as well, so they'll probably be wanting to bowl from more the clubhouse end, we'll call it, and we've got the city end from the far end. So it'll be interesting to see where Scott bowls his spinners today.
Great boost to get Daniel Dorum back after that broken hand. Do have one update. I think this will be the last bit of history we talk, but thank you to Rod Lyle for this. There was actually one Leon Cachet before that. It was a Salomon Leon Cachet, born in Amsterdam in 1803. He was a tobacco dealer, and he seems to have been the first ever to combine the 3 names. How has he found that out?
I don't know how Rod Lyle finds out most of his material, but him and Bertus de Jong are sort of the cricket connoisseurs of, well, the Dutch landscape, and they seem to know everything, those two.
Incredible. There is a great history to the Dutch game. Maybe those tuning in from North Americas, they're going to run a second, and Curtin's quick enough to get there, as too is Sherry Ismova. Can you give a little bit of that history? The top class in particular, they're very proud of how long-standing and brilliant a club competition that is.
Well, I can't give you the exact starting date, but it's plus 100 years, and the clubs, it means a lot. It really means a lot. The top class of the 50 over cricket actually over here is still revered as the #1 competition, where a lot of other countries in this landscape around this continent are pushing the T20, T10 and shorter formats. But for the Dutch cricket landscape, it's 50 over, it's your club, it's 100 years old, and it really means a lot to win the top classer. That is an absolute pearler, and easily could have been a Kyle Klein 4th. That will end the 7th over. Score 46 for 3. But yeah, a lot of these clubs, obviously plus 100 years, a big history about them, and winning that top division prize means everything to them. Even though the world cricket landscape is pushing more towards T20s and that shorter format, for the Dutch, 50 overs means a lot.
Yeah, they reckon it may be the longest concurrently running club competition anywhere in the world. It's just kept going. First champions all the way back in 1884.
Yeah, many moons ago, Lenny. Many moons.
Highest run scorer and the highest wicket taker in the history of the comp.
Tim DeLader.
It's the same man.
It'd be the king.
How incredible is that?
I heard a rumour. I was away recently.
He
in
was
Spain,
playing
but
twos.
Did he? I think he played a game recently. And he made a pretty good 30 or 40.
Of course he made runs. Looking forward to seeing Bass's younger brother come through as well. He's in the 19s. Leon Cachet will continue for a second. Reverse swept by Curtin. There is a man out there, so slightly strange shot choice against the wind, but I suppose hitting with the spin.
A couple of questions in the chat also just asking about the boundary sciences here. And it's 65 plus pretty much all the way around. There isn't really one short boundary to target. So deep boundaries, and it's more the breeze that comes into it.
The corners are particularly large.
Yes.
For me, square is probably the shortest. Straight is more than a fair hit. It's probably, I think it's 65 from the middle, or thereabouts from the middle, so it's probably more like a 70-metre plus hit. Problem is, if you're hitting up towards the pavilion, the other end, if you're hitting with the wind from this end, you'll get it there. I don't think we're going to see any sixes, or many sixes, hit up this way to where we're commentating from. Immediately the game changes, doesn't it? Come into the second power play, we'll see the 5 fielders outside the circle. We'll see protection really being the key operative word, even despite those 3 wickets in the power play for the Dutch.
Yeah, I think the Netherlands are happy to watch them hit singles here. They've got off to a pretty decent start with the wickets, and well, they'll look for the odd dot there at tight cover or tight mid-wicket.
Now you might want 2 here. You should get it. Probably 2 of the fittest players alongside Harsh Thacker who'll come in next in the squad. And Thacker will have a big role to play with his off breaks too. How long till we'll see Dorum? Are we going to see spinners in tandem?
Well, I think we will, but I think the Netherlands would be nervous to bring on Dorum while Curtin's there, left-handed to left-arm off spinner.
50s now come up, and it's crowned with a boundary out towards the hospitality tent. Some fancy footwork out there. Leon Cachet is getting taken apart on his debut. Curtin is looking very dangerous.
Yeah, right into that little hospitality tent out there. Good bit of foot fielding, but nice shot. And Cachet just down the leg side and put away nicely for 4. Canada just building nicely here. A little bit of a partnership which was much needed.
Looking glorious now all of a sudden. So different.
Welcome to the Netherlands in
3 hours ago.
2024. Honestly, it's been a peculiar summer weather-wise.
Gets away with that one. I think he'll have wanted to cut that for at least a couple. This is not the primary skill set of Leon Cachet. He's a batter who bowls, is that fair to say?
Yeah, he's a batter that bowls a little bit, definitely. But it does look pretty tidy.
May see a double change here, you'd suspect, as he's got none for 17 from his 2. It's 55 for 3. Suppose that the tour for Canada, it hasn't gone to plan. The much publicised departure of Pabudu Dasanayake still hasn't really been clarified as to the role that the coach for this tour is playing. Is it an interim head coach? Will they be applying for it? There's been some rumours of a bit of a difficult time off the field as well for them. They've got so much brilliant individual talent in the team, but they just haven't played really as a team. They've been kind of out-thought strategically, and it's not been a tour to remember, I have to say.
What you hope is that the off-field maybe issues, underlying issues, are not coming onto the field. As soon as that starts happening, that's when the alarm bells start going off. So let's hope that we see the best of them over the next coming days, because they don't want to leave this tour without at least a win or 2, or maybe even 3 or 4. So.
Yep.
Yeah, look, it's a big couple of days for them, and a big couple of days for this man coming on your screen. You can't miss him because he's about 6'12". Daniel Dorham, and great to see him again because he suffered a bad hand injury last time we were commentating on him in May, and he missed out on the World Cup due to that injury.
Yeah, left arm spin, orthodox. Curtin takes him on from the first ball, and Dorham has put it down. They're never easy off your own bowling, but this came at a very catchable height. Corey, is it fair to say this should have been taken? Nicholas Curtin has a life.
Oh, he has big, big mitts, and he'll be disappointed. It was hit pretty firmly. Lenny, have a closer look. Wow, it's a tough one. 1 in 10 maybe. He'll be disappointed though.
Well, 1 in 10.
I'll give it 1 in 10. That was hit pretty firmly.
I think you get 2 hands to it off your own bowling. Got to be taking that.
Feeling generous today,
aren't you? Wow.
I'm feeling quite generous.
It was difficult,
Best
don't get me
+3
wrong.
conditions. It was swinging in the air.
Oh, I don't know. I think that should have been taken for... The left arm spinners usually pride themselves on their fielding off their own bowling because it is an important method of dismissal, usually to right-handers. Batters going against the spin and you get leading edges. But this time he just pumped back at him and couldn't get anything on it.
I like the look of Daniel Dorham. I think obviously Tim Pringle's back in New Zealand now getting ankle surgery, so hopefully he's okay. Klein Floyd was used in the 50s. It looks like the Netherlands have plenty of left arm off spin options as well, but there's something about Dorham, that extra height, very crafty bowler.
Yeah, as a consequence, I suppose if you're approaching your batting plans to a bowler that tall, it's just everything changes, isn't it? The trajectory of the ball's coming to you at the speed it comes at. It's hard to maybe execute your sweeps, your slog sweeps. Can you use your feet to them?
I think it's difficult to get down to him because you're just trying to pick up that length so early, but it's coming from such a height. It's very unnatural to see such a tall sort of spin bowler. And he is a bit of a metronome. I don't want to put the old commentator's curse on him, but you don't often see him bowl the long hop or over pitch often. He's very, very consistent, playing some great cricket in the West Indies as well, picking up a lot of 4-day wickets.
Now that's the slog sweep I was talking about, and that is going to be as plumb as they come. He's so difficult to play that stroke against because he's just so tall and the ball keeps coming at you, aided by the wind behind his back. I think that's a very, very easy decision. Trapped right in front of the stumps. Mova never really looks settled, and Dorham has his first today.
Well, you look up plum in the dictionary, that's pretty much the picture of it. Dorham picks up his first, and look, Daniel Dorham feels like he's been around for an age because obviously he debuted very young in the Netherlands sort of youth system, but also he's back. It's only his 3rd T20I ever, and that's his 5th wicket. That was plumb an easy decision for Rizwan Akram. The umpires, Canada, they lose one at a time when they probably wouldn't want to. That was dead set plumb, hitting middle and off, halfway up. High risk shot, and pretty loose there from Mova. He'll be slightly disappointed. You do sort of feel with Big Doran bowling, not easy to get down to, and sweeping also quite tricky. 58 for 4. Does give new player to the crease an opportunity. Harsh Thacker comes out, and Curtin's still there. At this stage, maybe 140, top end. 4 wickets down. They don't want to lose a couple extras now.
This partnership is unbelievably important to Canada now. Probably their most consistent batter over the last little while, Harsh Thacker. Remember, 2 centuries in, albeit in the different format in ODI cricket. That was in Dubai. As we're going to see a change in bowling, I thought it might be the end of Leon Cachet. We'll see Paul van Meekeren come into the attack for his second from the city end of the ground. Cannot be easy bowling into that wind. Now, that's an excellent take from Edwards. It's a warm round of applause on his birthday from the home crowd. He looks like he's striving up into the wind, doesn't he, Van Meekeren?
It's quite an interesting one. Kingma today and Paul van Meekeren just haven't found a way in the wind. Only Kyle Klein, the one-seamer, to sort of find the line and length. And, well, with Kingma not on the field for his remaining 2 overs, Van Meekeren needs to get it right here. They need to find some overs, and they can't have him also struggle so much in this breeze.
Might be why they got those couple of overs from Leon Cachet. Do you see Zulfikar bowling his leg breaks as well?
I'd like to think so. I think Zulfikar's quite crafty, and obviously with that peculiar sort of action makes it a little bit more difficult. You've got Vikram Singh, who could come in, bowl a couple of wobblies. You've got Levitt as well there as well. So they've got options, the Netherlands, but they will have to find an over or 2 from somewhere.
Levitt bowled one of the spells of the series in the ODIs. 9 overs on the bounce.
Don't let him hear that.
Yeah, it was quite incredible. Nibbling it about, keeper up to the stumps. Powered. Now, for half a moment, the man who was at mid-wicket might have thought he had a chance, Saqib Zulfikar, but Nicholas Curtin's hit this like a bullet from a gun. Flies to the boundary.
Brilliant shot from Curtin, back of a length and stand and deliver. I don't think Saqib Zulfikar would have been bowling much if he had got a hand on that. That was hit very hard indeed. And, well, he's looking good. You were saying some runs might build a world of confidence for the skipper. And 29 off 23, he's got a platform to go big here.
And he's good, he's so good, Nicholas Curtin. His game has evolved hugely since he came into international cricket. He first came in, he struggled to strike at more than 60 or 70. Then he completely changed his physical body shape. He put a massive focus on his fitness and his strength and his conditioning. And he has reaped all the rewards because of that. I don't think there's many levels, even of the associate game now at international cricket, you can get away without being very, very fit. And
on this T20 format, it's evolved so quickly now that the days of maybe Mark Cosgrove and others are probably gone, Lenny. You have to be able to jog through. You have to be on it.
Poor old Cozzy.
Sorry, Cozzy, if you're listening, Cozzy, I apologise.
He's just down in South Australia. He was enjoying his evening. There's a few others you could have named. We won't go there, but no, I'm with you.
You got anyone off the top of your list?
We'll go David Boone and Merv Hughes because they're retired.
Picking on the Australians
here, Lenny. Could have got, Graham Gooch. Well, Gooch was actually good. Sorry, Mike Gaddy. There you go.
You got any more modern day ones? Maybe Rakeem?
No current players because they're still playing.
Well said.
Rakeem the Dream. I love him.
Jeez, he gives it a whack.
I was doing a league out in Florida last November. And my lord, the bat looks miniature in his hands.
There is someone I want to see on the ECN network.
One of the things he's so tall. He's 6'10", I think, 6'11". Off the gloves from Van Meekeren. That's what we saw up at VOC. For the Dutch, there'll be so many boxes they've ticked throughout the ODI series, won't they, on the home soil. Scott Edwards said he wanted to win all 12 of Cricket World Cup League 2 on home soil.
I like that. Well, he's a confident captain, and obviously playing in the ODI Super League has built this confidence. They got to the World Cup after that amazing qualifier in Zimbabwe. They truly believe in their 50-over format, and they believe in their T20 format. They'll be smarting a little bit that they have to play in the Europe regional finals, but they'll want to be sort of stamping their authority at home as much as possible.
So that gets us to the halfway stage of the first innings. There are 10 overs bowled. It's 64 for 4, and we want to welcome you up here to the commentary box. Andrew Leonard here alongside, got the great man with me, Corey Rutgers. There he is. We've got a little bit of a draft coming through the back of our box today.
I think that shows you how breezy it is.
It does,
actually.
That
was zipped down tight.
Yeah.
I went and had a look before. The zip's blown off, and it just shows you what the players
couldn't
are
get the
putting up
muscles
with
out to get it Get it down.
Do need to thank you.
You've been
Reminding
too busy.
me I need to go to the gym.
Too busy, haven't you? It was great to have you with us. Really enjoying all of your interaction. We'll get to some of those questions when we can on the YouTube channel, or of course you can just send us in a tweet or an Instagram message as well. Really looking forward to this series. 6 T20Is between 3 excellent teams. You look at what USA did at the T20 World Cup, getting to that Super 8. The Netherlands did it in the T20 World Cup before that. We've got world-class cricketers on show. We're going to see big hits, plenty of wickets and runs, and lots of entertainment.
Yeah, I hope so, as it looks like we're back to it already. Durham to continue.
Curtin very much going to hold the key in this second half. The expected score about 130. He will want a lot more than that. And a nice crowd has come in now. Corey didn't feel like it about 30 minutes before the start, but all of a sudden several hundred ringing around the boundary.
I think it's the old adage, Lenny, when the sun shines, the Dutchies come out. It was pretty awful conditions earlier this morning, so good to see a bit of a crowd filtering in. And I'm sure over the weekend, the Saturday, Sunday, we'll see some big crowds.
Perfect time for T20 cricket, a Friday evening. It is just approaching 5 p.m. local time. The expectations coming into this series, who would you make the favourites of the three?
Home soil, I think, plays a pretty big part in that, and I think the Netherlands will feel that. But USA, what USA did at the World Cup might have shocked some, might have not shocked some, but for me, they've just shown a bit of a formula to this T20 format. As they'll come across confident. They've shown glimpses in the 50s. You can't ride them off in this series. And I think Canada, look, probably go into this at the bottom of the 3, and that does reflect on the rankings as well.
I think the funny thing I'd take from the ODI series, I know there's been squad changes for all 3 teams, but you look at Netherlands bowling and fielding exceptional. Their batting has a massive soft underbelly to it, though. It really does. And the 2 times they defended those totals against USA, I think it was 237 and 206. For the vast majority of those chases, particularly in the 238 chase in Voorburg, the game was only heading in one direction. And it was almost by strength of will, force of character, and a consensus of belief amongst the fielding team that they somehow managed to drag it out. And then they managed to win both of them. The collapse in Voorburg was maybe the most dramatic I've ever seen in any international. 6 overs, 5 wickets, 8 runs. They scored 8 runs. There was loads of dots, not just the wickets. And again, no surprise that it was Kyle Klein, as we get to the end of the 11th, 67 for 4. From his 60th and final delivery, he was on antibiotics because he was sick. He managed to find a way past the set batter, Milan Kumar, who was caught in the covers, off a leading edge. And I just adore the way the Dutch go about their cricket. I think there's some real weaknesses the other teams can exploit, but they just never give in.
I think the big thing for them this series, obviously looking back at their last game in the T20 World Cup, Bustelator's not here, Engelbrecht's not here. All of a sudden, it's going to be very familiar top 3, O'Dowd, Levitt, Vikram, Singh. That 4-5 is a very, very difficult place to bat in T20 cricket. You usually come in, the field spread, and you start against spin. So there is going to be some very big questions for them as they go back to Lion Cachet, who does feel like he's filling a bit of a void here for Kingma, who's gone off injured. But yeah, I think they will be tested, the Dutch. They'll go in as slight favourites, I think, home soil and previous record. But I don't think it's going to be clear sailing. If they were to go 4-0 and win all these games comfortably, I'd be in shock. I do think that each of these teams are going to pose a threat at some stage.
And then equally for USA, their batting has so much strength and depth, but their seam bowling stocks are seriously weakened. And there is also, it hasn't been confirmed yet, but there is the rumour that Ali Khan will not be here due to an injury. Waiting for official confirmation on that. He was initially listed in the T20I squad. So with no Netravalkar, no Ali Khan, Jesse Singh went off with that injury, the ankle injury. He took a real blow trying to prevent one in his follow through. Hit at a catchable height, but over the head of Levitt and over extra cover, but a diving stop in the deep will save a run, as Curtin does really well to get back for 3.
A brilliant shot as well, just backing away against the spin. Daniel Durham, the big man, he does fantastic to cut it to 3. That is using every inch of that sort of tall height. You can see the turf ripping up a little bit there, Andrew. There, we did have a lot of rain this morning, so maybe a little bit soft underfoot, but this is good from Curtin. He just needs a bit of support.
Other
piece of news from the USA camp is that, just reminded of it because of Daniel Dorham taking a chunk of turf out, Stephen Taylor, who went to ground, knee jarred, and he tumbled over his own body weight. He was fit enough to come out and bat, but I saw him the next morning in the hotel. He was off for a scan. Don't know the result of that scan. It didn't look great. So I'm not sure how much we'll see him either.
A couple of big injuries there and a couple of big outs, so USA might be using that big squad depth that they do have. A little thick inside edge, and uncharacteristic mistake from Paul Van Maker, and that will result in a 2.
But again, the awareness from Curtin. I don't think there's another pair in the entire Canadian setup that would have got 2 there. They would have jogged a 1. But Curtin said, no, I'm going to put him under pressure. Saw the misfield, gets back very quickly. And really good athleticism shown by Harsh Thacker too. This partnership just starting to build, starting to threaten. Double this up from here, 150. That could be interesting, given a little bit of fragility with the bat for the Dutch.
I think 150 plays here. Look, 19 extras. This is probably the most uncharacteristic Dutch performance in the field we've seen in a long time.
Corey, I know you do a lot of coaching. As we get to the end of the 12th, 75 for 4. What kind of a head coach are you on the side? Would you be furiously scribbling away here all the notes?
I think every coach is taking a few notes, but it's also very important. You're not really showing too many mannerisms around the team. If you're feeling a bit red in the face, you need to
try to stay level.
Try to stay level. I think every now and then it's okay to maybe give an acute sort of feedback, but obviously you need to try and stay level and keep the dressing room quite calm, which isn't always easy. 75 for 4, and with 19, I mean, you take the 19 extras off, even if that's 2 or 3 extras, they're well behind, but they've got a chance here, Canada, to get up to a score that is defendable. And here comes an interesting change. So it is going to be a little bit of right arm leg spin. Saqib Zulfikar is going to come into the attack. And I have a feeling Canada might find this one to be their matchup, that they might try take him down.
Just again, like, I know this is only a very small point here. Zulfikar's bowled one, I think it was to Levitt, and Levitt's thrown it back 5 yards over his head.
I don't know what it is, but they do feel a little bit off their game today.
Sloppy.
Yeah, there is something sloppy about. Maybe it's the quick turnaround from the ODIs, but just a little bit off their game.
That reminds me of my absolute prime. Leg spin is the hardest art in our game. I will never criticise one, but you'll often bowl a loosener at the start. The great thing about T20 cricket, I don't think anyone saw this coming, but if we applied some deep thought to it when it came, when T20 cricket came to us, everyone thought, oh, that's the end of the spin bowlers. There's no chance of the wrist spinners having any effect. But what the leg spinner gets in this format, as that is another real drag down, he gets protection. So he's got 5 in the deep. So, okay, 2 horrible deliveries, I've got to call them as they are, to start with from Zulfikar. But because he's got 5 out in the boundary, he's not 2 balls, 8 runs, he's 2 balls, 2 runs, and he can get a chance to get into a spell.
Yeah, he needs to get into it quickly as well, because if he drags another one down, they might not be so generous.
Better, but it's going to be given as more extras. I'm going to have to wait. This could be leg buys, I suspect. Wait for the signal from the umpire. It is leg buys, maybe just off the thigh pad.
Where do leg buys sit for you in the extras sort of thing? I like to call them the orphan of cricket. They don't go to they don't go to the bowler. They don't go to the batter. It's just, and it goes to the extras column. Yeah. It's the orphan. It doesn't have a high. It's a complicated one.
They're kind of fielding extras. Is that what they're called? Cut away. Protection out there. Pretty standard field for a leg spinner in a T20. 2 men in the deep on the offside, 3 in the deep on the leg. The problem is Curtin is very swift on this pull. Now, he will be hitting into the wind, so it's the correct end to get him on from if you're Scott Edwards. You want to give him as much protection as you can. That's exactly what a caring captain should do. And he's doing. Well, this partnership is building nicely.
Yeah, it is building nicely. Curtin's still there, obviously holding the key. As Zulfikar, well, his figures don't look too bad from his first 5 deliveries, but probably hasn't been in the flow that he would have liked. Getting a little bit of a warning there from Rizwan Akram, saying, look, just running down the little bit of the middle of the wicket. Don't often see that with a leg spinner, actually. Last ball of his first.
Gets a bit adventurous, does Curtin. If he didn't get bat on that, he would have been in big, big trouble. 13 have been bowled. It's 80 for 4. You're watching us live here on the European Cricket Network. Great to have your company. I'm going to try and get to some of those comments. If you have any questions, just drop them in the YouTube chat or find us there on Twitter or Instagram. We'll get back to you as quick as we can. Nice to hear from Julian DeMay in the chat, former Dutch international. He was out in Nepal with us at one point. There's the 6 bowlers that have been used so far. Is the 7th and 8th options, of course. But yeah, if you do have any questions, wondering exactly how this series is coming together, do please get in touch. We'd love to hear from you.
I think there's one from Kate just asking about the ends, and well, Klein Cachet's bowling from the city end and then the pavilion end where we're sort of seated.
Very boring end names, come on.
Yeah,
For all the history you have here.
the city end. Everyone loves running in from the city end.
Why was there's a big river there. It's a tributary of the
Oh,
Rhine.
there's rivers everywhere now.
There's one of, it could have been the Rhine end. Gone straight to the man at backward point. And Leon Cachet has a maiden international wicket. Thacker was trying to give himself some room, trying to get it over the ring field in the offside, but all he could do was pick out backward point in a moment. Leon Cachet is not going to forget.
Yeah, that's a moment you take with you for many years. I'm sure his family and friends are watching from, well, wherever they are around the world, and they'll be very happy indeed. He's been asked to do a lot of bowling here today. Filling in, you'd imagine, a little bit because of the injury to Vivian Kingma. And, well, frustration for Canada. Every single time they start to build a partnership, they lose a wicket at the wrong time. And now it is 80 for 5.
Well, questions coming in on the YouTube chat. Start with an easy one for you, Corey. I think I know the answer as well. Junior editor asking who will win today, Canada or Netherlands?
Oh, to be honest, look, in my sort of pre-game, I think it's going to be a little bit closer than you think. As Canada have shown over the last few years, their T20 program especially is improving, and you're right, there's a little bit more of a soft underbelly in this Dutch batting lineup. So, look, I'm tipping Netherlands, but I'm not going to say it's going to be easy.
And that was the 5th wicket. Curtin has not got a lot of support, has he? No one really, apart from him, has looked set at the crease. We're going to see Dylan Hayligger held back, and I don't think that's necessarily a bad move. They'll want his explosive power towards the death. Ravinder Pal Singh, who's had a bit of a lean time of things of late. His job really is just to get ones here, isn't it? Got to get the captain on strike.
Yeah, just going to be trying to hit the sweepers hard along the carpet and get the skipper back down to the main end, who's really looked a class above compared to his compatriots today. Kind of a nervous sort of start there for Singh. Cachet's done pretty well, you'd have to say, on debut. I'm sure there would have been some butterflies once he was given the nod earlier today. One chipped into the leg side. I'll scamper through for a single and just settle for the one. Yeah, there would have been some nerves, obviously, for Leon Cachet, but he's done a good job. 1 for 25, 2 balls remaining. You'd love to get out of this spell without too much more damage and then focus on his batting. He's listed to come in at number 4, and pretty key role for the Netherlands.
Just short, only just short of the subfielder. Still no sign of Vivian Kingma coming back on. That's a big concern, isn't it? From the Netherlands, Shariz Ahmed dives forward, does pretty well actually.
Yeah, brilliant bit of fielding. He's extremely tight there at point, and a pretty good fielder to have come on as 12th.
Yeah, that's a strong area of Curtin's, but he doesn't get it out of the middle. He'll actually be happy with the single this time. I think he'll want the strike. He needs to face as many of the 36 remaining deliveries in this innings. It's 82 for 5, and that'll round out Leon Cachet's first spell. Not bad. 4 overs, 1 for 26.
Quick through the air, a little bit crafty, but obviously has something to offer, and I think the Netherlands sort of coaching staff will be happy with that. Just looking at the bowling figures here, Lenny, it's quite interesting. So Saqib Zulfikar's just bowled the 1, and it looks like he might be coming straight out the attack. No, they're going to go back with him. You've got Dorham's got 2, Vermakeren's got 2, Kyle Klein's got 1. So you've got 3 overs of pace and at least probably 3 overs of spin, unless they go to Levitt or Vikram Singh. So I do wonder for Curtin, does he try and target the 3 overs of spin likely? And does he see this as an opportunity, or is he going to sort of wait till the pace is back on?
Do have a question in the chat, Corey, from... Oh, I've lost the person who asked it, but I'll go with it anyway. The questions are coming in so rapidly. Just asking, what's the average first innings score here? I can give you the answer, but it doesn't really enlighten us much because there's been so few T20Is here. There's only been 2 completed T20Is. They were between Italy and Germany, and they were very low scoring. So average first innings score here is 95, as this one pierces the gap between the two fielders. Sweeper will cut it off though and keep it to what should be 3. Curtin is so quick. So they'll get past the 95, you'd expect, and I don't think it's really much of a barometer as to how good the playing conditions are here. It's actually the first time the Dutch have played a full T20I here.
Yeah, compared to a few years ago, and obviously seeing a lot of club cricket in this part of the country these days, it's a bit more true for batting. So, look, it's difficult to guess a pass score because we haven't had enough volume here to give that, as well, goes for an adventurous shot, and it's a beautiful shot. Gets some wood on it. It's going to go away for 4. Well, Lenny, you talked about Curtin. He's had a bit of a nightmare sort of time. Not today. He's looking beautiful.
That's an incredible stroke, isn't it? To dig that out from a half volley length. And again, it's great for me, the tactical awareness. He's hitting with the heavy, heavy breeze. He's not trying to battle the breeze and clob it up to clob it all the way up to long on or mid wicket. He's not going to get it there. So instead he goes, okay, I'll use the pace in the ball, I'll use the breeze and get it away for 4. Now he goes over the offside, a couple of bounces. Yeah, those Germany-Italy T20Is, the 2 were held here back in 2019. And in fairness to Italy, in the second game, they did chase down 130 with 5 overs to spare, so nothing wrong with that. Daniel Weston was opening the baton for Germany.
Well, there you go. That's called Inception. Great movie. Is that one? Slight appeal and we'll get through.
He'll remember them.
That's quite remarkable,
Isn't
actually. Isn't that full circle? We're now on Daniel Weston's network called the European Cricket Network, calling a game here between the Netherlands and Canada, and he was playing in that game here. That gives us the statistics for the ground score. Brilliant.
Do you want to know the most remarkable thing? There was 2 T20Is. Misfield from Levitt. I thought he was poor in the final ODI. I have to say, by the Dutch fielding standards, he was the one that stood out as being sloppy, and he's been tardy again. 15 bowled, 93 for 5. Both of those T20Is were played in the same day. 2 in the day. People are giving out about 6 and 6 days. 2 in the same day. Do you want to know Daniel's scores in those 2 games?
Oh, yeah, I'd love to. I think I might send him a little private message if you don't mind.
Well, in the first game, Germany were bowled out for 53.
10.
He made a 3rd ball duck, and in the second game he made 5 off 6, so it wasn't his trip.
Oh, hopefully he doesn't cut the power to the network. Right. Daniel, if you're listening, we apologise. Yeah. And Andrew Leonard was never heard of again.
Exactly, never again. He's disappeared off into commentating heaven. That's where he's gone.
You've had a very busy summer, winter,
yes,
or wherever you've been. Test cricket, World Cup cricket, you're loving it, aren't you?
Look, really blessed, mate, really blessed. And I think wherever our game goes, whatever happens, there's always going to be something special about Test match cricket, and to get to call 2 of them this year. Van Meekeren strays down the leg side of the wide with his return, and also 2 Irish wins, one of them in their first ever win, that was over Afghanistan in Abu Dhabi, and then more recently over Zimbabwe, the first win on home soil. You just see how much it means to the players, and I think there's a big job for cricket administrators to do to make sure that continues to be the way, but I'm not sure it'll ever change. Players still see it as the pinnacle, even if they're not earning necessarily as much money or getting the same scale or reward. There's something incredibly satisfying about battling it out with your best mates against a team of peers, opponents, and proving you're better than them across the course of what can be 450 overs over 5 days.
Well said. I think I've got much to say. Well said. It is the pinnacle, isn't it?
And I'm a massive, I adore ODI cricket. I love T20I cricket too, but there's just, I don't know, it's probably a bit like, maybe to use a golf term, it's a bit like our majors in golf. It's never going to lose its appeal or its graw. And there's 2 test matches in play today. Great to see one of them in the clubhouse.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. People love the test cricket. They'll have it on everywhere here in the
amazing,
Netherlands. Oh, look, bring back the Intercontinental Cup for me. Bring me back a little Namibia taking on the Netherlands in Dubai or something for a 4-dayer. That's the pinnacle.
Yeah, and the reason I think it means so much to the players is it is aptly named. It's a test of every single one of your skills, your endurance, your mental ability to be able to cope with difficult phases of play. And yeah, fair play to Ireland, who don't currently play first-class red ball cricket, to be able to get 2 wins. Curtin hammers this one away. Well, that has gone like a tracer bullet. It's going to be 50. And the first for Nicholas Curtin is the captain of Canada. This has been a sensational knock. It's really been a tale of two innings. Nicholas Curtin and everyone else. How good has this been?
Yeah, brilliant batting. Short ball, and he's absolutely crunched it. 51 off 45, striking at 113. Came out, had a difficult time. Wickets were falling around him. And, well, basically, it's him and the extras that have got Canada up to a sort of a mini platform here, where if they are to have a big finish, they could get 150, 160 here. And it's sort of been a very peculiar first innings.
I would quite fancy Canada if they got to 150 plus, let alone 160. Long way to 160, there's no doubt. Expected score 134. Nobody played a shot like that against Paul van Meekeren across 4 ODIs. And that, for me, shows the quality of Curtin. It's remarkably only his second T20I 50. But again, that doesn't paint the picture of how good a player he's been. The other one, pretty sure it came at the World Cup against, may well have been against Ireland. But he's a fine player, and he's been maybe given something he might not necessarily have sought out. I don't think he necessarily wanted the captaincy, but it's the kind of thing you don't turn down, is it?
No, I think if you get the honour to lead your country, it's very hard to say no.
Guided away. Klein will do the fielding. Gets warm applause from the VIP hospitality tent. Ravinder Pal Singh has to really get the afterburners on to get back for the second. The hundreds going to come up here. Canada hanging about in this contest.
Just hanging about. I mean, looking at this innings, you feel like the Netherlands have been on top for most of it, but 101. Look, you go 10, 10, 10, 10. We're looking at a 142 to 145 here, Lenny, which isn't impossible to defend.
And again, it's hard for us to tell you what the par is at this ground, because 90 odd is skewed by just those 2 T20Is. And then even if you look at the ODIs, the Super League ODIs against Ireland, I don't think it's fair to compare and contrast them. I believe there was COVID effects and reasons as to why the pitches weren't anything like as good as they are today. 16 have been bowled. It's 102 for 5. This to me looks like a pretty good surface, and the only reason I'm saying 150 will be really competitive, it's because of that slight weakness to the Dutch batting.
Yeah, well, it's got to be a different sort of look, middle order. You can have someone on debut. Saqib Zulfikar might go up to that 5-6 region, and yeah, Noah Kroos isn't. Yeah, it's just different. It's just a little bit different. So if Canada can get the runs on the board, you never know. Obviously, Kingma, will he be able to run later? He might be needed for a couple of runs. T20s always go down to the wire. So 102 for 5. Durham, very impressive figures, and what is only his third T20 international, which is quite remarkable because it feels like he's been around for a long time.
Shows the trust that Edwards has in him as well, that he's almost certainly going to bowl overs 17 and 19, and again good use of the wind conditions. So it means that Durham will have the wind at his back, and even Curtin, I don't think he's not going to try and get one over long on, is he?
I'm expecting the reverse here. It's not going to be easy against Durham, but I think he's going to go with the breeze. And you see Scott Edwards change the field a little bit. They've put in a backward point and sort of got 2 covers in place for that shot. So it'll be interesting to see if he stands still and tries to go over cover, or if he does pull out the reverse.
Durham, very canny, very, very clever. Such a big boost to get him back in the Dutch orange.
He was a massive loss for them in the World Cup.
Huge.
I honestly think there was talk around, it would have been him and Pringle together. They would have gone with the 2 left arm offers. It was a massive loss.
Particularly if you look at some of the surfaces the Netherlands had to play on, but probably with the exception of the one in Texas, which was a good track, but again that was affected by the thunderstorm that held up play. Some of the pitches were, well, it was not easy for batting, let's just put it that way.
Personally, as a viewer, I thought it was quite good to watch.
Big hack across the line. Van Meekeren can't cut it off, but it won't cost any additional runs as Vikramjit Singh helps him out. Yeah, it was the lowest scoring runs per over World Cup since the inception of the tournament back in 2007.
Look, I'm all for it being a bit of a batter's game and people are there to see boundaries, but give me an up and down spicy one any day. I love 100 versus 100.
You can see there, often he'd take that shot on and go over long on, but he's not even thinking about that. He's just thinking, we can only get ones here. Overs 18 and 20 are the big ones, and it's also going to challenge what I think is a strategic misstep from Scott Edwards. I think with the way the wind is, as the slog sweep comes out, gets a good piece of it, and it's going to go onto the road. That could be into a little canal over there. That's a great strike from Ravinder Pal Singh. Durham finally gets hit for a boundary.
Yeah, actually gave that one a little bit of width, and that freed the arms. Beautiful cricket shot, lovely strike, and that might have just avoided the canal. Didn't hear a splash, so 112 for 5. 3 overs to go. Canada, well, first time we've had them on the ECN network. Still got a chance in this one. This is something that's also going on over the weekend. That's where Vinny Sandhu is at the moment. Andrew Lennon, it's the Meltle Shield. So this is the women's best of the best taking each other on in a T10 bonanza. You have the British and Irish Roses. How was it? Noses, sorry. Roses taking on Team Europe. A magnificent event. The Western Shield was the men's. Meltle Shield is actually Dan Weston's wife. And some very, very good players have been listed there.
Yeah, great idea. I have to say, the innovation, I'm not trying to get back in Weston's good books after talking about his batting. The innovation the ECN shows, it's quite remarkable. Like, and again, the scale, we'll wait for Vinny Sandhu to get here in 3 days' time to really explain it all properly. But the scale of cricket around the continent, hard to even imagine, let alone explain. It's staggering, isn't it? And this is right the way across a hugely diverse landscape of nations.
I think my favourite thing about the ECN and what they're able to do is how proactive they are. They come up with an idea and they go for it. I think this year also with the major 30-plus team comp for the ECC, there's now ECCX and ECC, which is like the Europa League and the Champions League. So there's 2 division now, there's relegation, there's promotion, 30-plus teams. Yeah, I just like that the ECN, they don't just sit there and let it go. They go, hey, we've got an idea, let's give it a crack.
I still think the single best innovation, I know there's loads I've probably missed and I've only dipped in and out, but the timer for the innings to force the team to bowl their overs in time, I think it's got to come into the international game. I think the little, they had a stop clock, didn't they, at the World Cup, but that was only in between the overs. So what we were then seeing was a side rush between the overs, bowl the first ball, and the captain would come over to the bowler. And then they'd think about exactly what they're doing that over. So
Loopholes.
Yeah, well, it's a very large loophole.
Yeah, it's a pretty good loophole. To be fair, my coach just said I'm pretty happy with loopholes.
Yeah.
Loopholes are good fun, but yeah, it is a nice innovation. They do sort of try and change the game a little bit.
Short ball, that will be given as a wide. That was the kind of lift that he was getting up in the VOC in Rotterdam. Aaron 20 for 17 overs thus far. They're gonna be slow, and that's again because of the extras.
24 we're up to, 14 wides, 10 leg byes. Look, Ryan Cook is a very mild-mannered coach. He's very calm. But I think there'd be a few stern words given. I don't think they'd be too happy with this. The Netherlands have been... Well, look, it's weird because it's 114 for 5. They're in somewhat control, but they've been a bit under par for their standards.
Hit away, protection out there, deep backward square will keep it to a single. I think the best way to put it is they've given Canada a window into this game where, as if they'd been their usual Dutch efficiency and ruthlessness, this game could be very, very one-sided. Instead, Curtin finishes well, particularly from this end of the ground at 18 and 20. I think 150 could be really interesting. They've got to play well to get there, but 150 could be a hell of a game.
You get sort of a Max O'Dowd early in the power play who sorted the glue. You remove a Levitt and a Vikram, and then all of a sudden at 2 for 30, you got game on. So a crucial 15 balls coming up in the context of this match.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. There's Durham. Just still a little, he's not moving as fluently. He's coming back from that injury. He's bowled very nicely.
I wonder how much mental scarring that does as well. He was just fielding in a similar spot against Ireland, I believe, and he tried to stop a reverse sweep and it hit his hand, and unfortunately it was a break and it ruled him out of the World Cup. So good to see him in the Dutch colours again. There's always a bit of nervousness when you're fielding once more. You never want to get a repeat injury.
Turned into what looks like a very pleasant day. It's still a bit breezy and blustery, and there's Ravinder Pal Singh. Oh, thank you very much. It's a slog sweep off Paul van Meekeren. It's a shot that we wouldn't have seen in a month of Sundays during the ODIs. It's ever so effective for Canada, though.
Well, that's in the highlight reel. He got every piece of that. That's the old slog sweep off a guy bowling at least 140. Good to see some of the crowd filter in and come and enjoy the afternoon fixture. As that was an amazing shot in Canada. Just building to something here. It's been a great little cameo from Singh, 22 off 12, and this is what they needed.
Curtin was crying out for it, wasn't it? Someone give me some support, and no one in the top 5 batters did. Oh, now an angry throw, and Paul van Meekeren getting awfully carried away and asking whether or not he can have a dismissal for obstructing the field. But this one definitely isn't. All he's done is turn back around, and he's going to have a bruise here, Ravinder Singh.
But look, he's in his right to throw it here because obviously he's out of his crease, but I don't think he's ever changed his line. He just
He hasn't
pinned him.
moved.
No, he hasn't moved. It's an interesting old appeal from Paul van Meekeren, and that's probably going to leave a bit of a shiner, 122 for 5.
They always see the red mist, the big fast bowlers, don't they?
Well, look,
Particularly when they've been hit for a 6.
I wasn't here for the ODI series, but I heard between Canada and the Netherlands, look, I've heard a few dinner talk conversations. There was a bit of red mist between these teams.
It was tasty.
How tasty? On a scale of 1 to tasty.
It was 8 out of 10 tasty. It really was. Curtin has a big swing. Doesn't go where he wanted it, but it is going to challenge the rope and end up with 3 runs. I think it was an edge. We'll just wait for the umpire to confirm that it was. Goes past the left hand of Scott Edwards. Doran bowling the 19th.
I think this is a reflection of Kingma being injured because you've got Kyle Klein's got 1, so you'd imagine he'll close from the city end. But yeah, no Kingma with that injury means they're going to have to use spin to close, and Canada, well, they would love to cash in.
Goes for that favoured slog sweep again. I've got to give credit to Ravinder Singh because he's played with real intent, and actually I think an aspect of this is he knows that there's batters to come. You might think, well, hold on, after number 7, who is there? Dylan Hayliger hits a monstrous ball, so if he gets caught out in the boundary here, Ravinder Singh, that won't be the worst result. Hayliger, he could clear any boundary, and he's put another one down, smashed back at him. A slightly different kind of caught and bowl chance to the one he dropped earlier in the innings off Curtin. But again, it's the same bowler, the same batter, and the same results.
Yeah, there might have been a bit of self-preservation for the old body there. That was laced, but I think Doran will be disappointed. His delivery sort of skewed away, but that's 2 sort of caught and bowls, and they're going to come back for a tight 2. No, they won't. Good bit of fielding.
He was dropped on 25, and now he's been put down on 59. Neither were easy chances. And like you said, this one, well, just glad he got his hands to it because it would have been a horrible blow otherwise. It was so well struck by Curtin.
Yeah, I think that half the population would have felt that one. That was in a dangerous area, Lenny.
Tries that slog sweep again, but that length is the perfect example of how difficult Durham is to play. Look at where it's bounced up to.
Look at his figures. How crafty is he? 1 for 21. Oh, 3.5. I'd love to see him get an extended run as he gets warned for his follow-through as well. Well, this might be a genuine official warning. I don't know if I've seen that too often with some spinners, but looks like he's just been warned down the middle of the wicket.
He's only got 1 ball left.
He'll be okay.
Just bowl it and get off. Hacked across the line and hacked it very effectively for 4 more. Luckily, that youngster who's walking along with the football goes maybe 2 or 3 yards in front of him. Not sure if he was looking. Any disaster averted over there, and Ravinder Singh gets another boundary.
Well, tell you what, honestly, with the way the ball is hit these days, it's amazing that so many people avoid injuries. We have a quick look at the bowling figures. Kyle Klein, 3 for 10 has been the standout. Look, Vivian Kingma only 2 overs due to injury. Hopefully he's okay. Zulfikar, not too bad, these 2 overs. Cachet, his first debut wicket. But overall, I think Canada, 131, if they can take this over for 14, set 145, 146, I think they'll take that from the position they were in.
Yeah, don't rule this out being a big over. Both batters will hit with the wind. And this is, I think, the dream scenario for Nicholas Curtin. He's going to look at long on. He's going to look at cow corner. And there's a massive gap, isn't there, between long on and the man at deep mid-wicket.
Well, they've actually got a deep backward point, a deep cover, and a deep mid-off. So 3 on the boundary and the offside. He has to bowl wide hole here. He's televising where he'll bowl.
And he's going to pump it down the ground, exactly where you'd expect Curtin to go. I think this is a really costly misstep from Scott Edwards. It might sound very simple. You've got to not be bowling your final over from the batter hitting with the wind. It's 4 to start with. Pressure immediately on Klein.
Yeah, well, you actually mentioned it before a ball was bowled. You said that you think they chose the wrong end to start. And maybe that's something the coaches will talk about at the innings break or for future games. But yeah, Kyle Klein, despite his good figures, he's going to be under the pump here.
It's the most basic thing when you've got a really strong breeze or a short boundary at one side. Inside edge, okay, it's fortunate for Curtin, but it's back-to-back boundaries. 150 plus, very much on the cards. Canada, a quite brilliant fight back.
What a brilliant innings this has been. Yes, it's a bit fortuitous this time. Easily could have gone into the stumps, but 4 and a 4. And boy, with 4 balls left, 150 felt like a long way away 40 minutes ago. 139 for 5 now, Canada.
It's a career best in T20I cricket now for Nicholas Curtin. Gets away with it. It's good tactics from the bowler. He's trying to go outside off stump because of that. Sort of, he's a deep third, really, isn't it? Deep cover and long off on the offside.
Yeah, it's not often you see this field. Obviously, 3 back on the offside and only a deep mid wicket and deep mid on for the leg side. But it does televise it a little bit. Kyle Klein has...
Telegraph it.
Thank you, I'll take that.
Televise.
That's what Vinny has to do for me as well.
We're broadcasting everywhere, all around the world, live here on YouTube.
He has to put it outside off stump or it could be damage.
That's what he does, and it goes to exactly that man. So that's the game plan. Curtin would have loved to have got that a bit straighter and tried to find the gap. Now, what will Ravinder Pal Singh do, and what field will be set for him? 2 deliveries remain. Can they get to 150? Need 2 biggies.
Well, look, I think Singh's thinking one thing and one thing only. Let's pull out that big slog sweep again. Seems to make contact with it quite nicely. So 140 on the board. Can they go a 6 and a 4 and get it to a 150 out of nowhere?
He has smashed this, and he smashed it all the way for 6. What a sparkling cameo from Ravinder Pal Singh. It was almost up above his head where he's played it from. And that 150's back on the cards.
What a marvellous shot. It was high, and well, he's got every piece of that. As soon as it hit that bat, you could hear the noise. You knew it was 6. 150's on here. Singh's come out. What a marvellous innings. Curtin, 10 out of 10. And Canada, they're going to take a little bit of momentum into this second innings.
You just wonder again, easy to say this with hindsight, could they have bowled Klein out and kept Van Meekeren for the last? Very expensive in his final over here. You can keep adding to the runs because it's going to be 6 more. The perfect finish from Canada for the first time maybe on this entire tour of the Netherlands. They are jubilant. The 150s come up. They'll finish with 152 thanks to a massive final over. It could well be enough. It's the biggest over of the innings. They've jumped all the way with 21 off it. And a final flourish from Ravinder Pal Singh. A sensational knock too from Nicholas Curtin. It's game on in Kampong.
Oh, it's game on, all right. That sort of Dutch new middle order is going to be tested. Ravinder Pal Singh, what a cameo from you. And the captain stands up after a lean trot. A marvellous innings from him. And overall, I think Canada, they take it with both hands.
Look at that Curtin. He's saying, well, Ravinder Pal Singh's the star. I might have held it together.
That's leadership. That is leadership.
Love to see that. He has smoked 39 off 18 deliveries, including 4 big sixes. Shows there's plenty of runs in the wicket. How costly are those 24 extras going to be? Well, let's get a look at some of the best of this first innings. Right from the start, Netherlands not where they usually are. They weren't immaculate. They were costly. And they had Kyle Klein's early wickets to thank for bringing them back into the game.
Yeah, look, it was a blustery start, and it was Kyle Klein who came into the attack and really got onto a bit of a heater with the big wicket there. This was a very good catch from Paul Van Meekeren. Not an easy catch indeed, and made it look quite comfortable. And then it was 2 in 2. Max O'Dowd taking the next one as Kyle Klein was continuing his good summer. At this stage, you thought maybe the Netherlands are going to run through them.
Yeah, I thought he bowled so beautifully. That was the delivery of the day, maybe the delivery of the series thus far, no doubt. And the top of off rocked back. So good we see it thrice. Love that. He was pumped up at that point. Everything was going his way. He had 3 for 10 from his initial 3 overs, but then Curtin came to the crease. And I have to say, I thought he played outstandingly well.
You think about all the pressure that's been on his shoulders and a bit of a lean trot as that was LBW and Doran's first wicket since coming back from injury. But yeah, so much pressure on the skipper. And to come back and sort of respond the way he did, carry the innings and also accelerate at the right times was mighty impressive. And, well, without Scott Edwards behind the as well, he'd be thinking that was a pretty tough 20 overs. In the end, it was a massive amount of wides in total.
Yeah, 14 wides, 24 extras altogether. That was the maiden international wicket for Lion Cachet. There's some good innovation. That was an extraordinary stroke that he was able to get that half volley from Zulfikar, who, well, he was pretty lucky to bowl 2 overs for 13. There was some fantastic ball striking, firstly from Nicholas Curtin, but then what a cameo from Ravinder Pal Singh.
Yeah, brilliant cameo. This was a little bit of a comical moment. There was an appeal for nothing really, and Ravinder Pal Singh, hey, maybe it spurred him on, because he pulled out the old Steve Warslog sweep and he kept getting it and getting it and getting it, and it took us to the last over. A little bit of luck there, but I think Canada created their own luck here. It was it 21 off the last?
Yeah, 21 off the last, including back-to-back maximums to finish with 4 boundaries in total from the final over. We always make these points in commentary. They sound like hindsight, but we call this one in advance. You cannot bowl that 20th and final over from that end. And if you're wondering why that's a tactical misstep, the captain gets to dictate where they would like to start from on the fielding team. Just the 2 contributions. Look at the rest of the scorecard. 4, 5, 0, 6, 5. Not dialing that number. 152 for 5. It all added up to the stars of the show, Curtin and Singh.
And the third star of the show, the extras. 24 extras in there as the third top scorer. You don't often see that at this level of cricket. If we have a look at the bowling figures, Kyle Klein, he ends up with 3 for 31, but it was an amazing first 3 overs for him. Daniel Dorham, he did a good job, and so did Cachet, the spinners, 1 for 26 and 1 for 25, respectfully. And overall, I think Kingma, obviously with the injury, we hope he's okay. Saqib Zulfikar filled in for his 2 overs and did an okay job. 152 for 5, Lenny. We've got game on at Kampong.
Yeah, we really do. And I've got to say, an outstanding partnership between Curtin and Singh. It was worth 72, and it was only 3 shy of the Canadian record. The good news is we've got a sensational contest to open the series. Maybe a sign of things to come between 3 excellent T20I sides. Very hard to call which way this one is going to go. The good news is you'll be able to watch every single ball of it with us, with me, Andrew Leonard, and of course the great man right next to me, Corey Ruckers. Don't go anywhere too far. Maybe just about enough time for a cup of tea, or if you finished a hard week of work, maybe you can pour yourself something stronger and tune in for the second innings. We're back with all the action in about 5 to 7 minutes time. Well, welcome back here to the fantastic Kampong sporting facility. We're in Utrecht in the Netherlands, about 45 minutes away from Amsterdam. It's a gorgeous city, and it's really turned into a gorgeous Friday evening. It did not look this way 3 or 4 hours ago, I can absolutely assure you of that. There was a question over whether we'd get play-in, let alone a full T20 international. But the evening is set fair. The blue skies are all around this picturesque venue, and the Netherlands have strided out to the middle. Max O'Dowd and Michael Levitt, the usual opening partnership across both white ball formats. Open throughout the ODIs, I'll now open 2 in the T20Is. The target, it's 153 to win after a fantastic flying finish from Ravinder Pal Singh in particular, and the mainstay of the innings, Canada's captain, the new captain, Nicholas Curtin, who played so well alongside the right-hander. They put on 72 for the 6th wicket to drive that total of 152. We think it might be a very competitive one. Andrew Leonard is my name. I'm being joined by Corey Ruckers for the whole of this second innings. Corey, we're talking off air there during the innings break. We reckon this is, it's a coin toss right now.
I think this is game on. I really think this is game on. And for me, honestly, the Canadian bowling lineup, they can't be expensive with the extras. They're going to have to be perfect. I don't think they can afford to do a 15 to 20 extras and let Netherlands get that close. The top 3, Michael Levitt, Max O'Dowd, Vikram Singh, hold the key. If they lose a couple early, as you mentioned, a bit of a new look sort of middle, it's going to be tense for the Netherlands on home soil. Yeah,
it's going to be fascinating. There's a really good home crowd in. There's probably 300 or 400, maybe a few more than that, ringing in and around the boundaries. And Kalim Sana will take the new ball. You're not going to believe it. From the pavilion end.
I like that this has got into you a little bit. I like this is your thing.
Did they not watch the first innings? If you're wondering what we're talking about, you're just joining us. There is a very, very strong, close to, well, gale force maybe an exaggeration, but really strong breeze hammering over Sana's left shoulder down towards the fine leg region. We're all set for the chase. Here we go. And that's where the breeze is going, down towards that direction of the ground, and Canada utilised it brilliantly in the 20th and final. And you'll love this. A couple of extras to get us going.
I was just about to say, leg byes are having a good day out, aren't they? That actually thudded off the thigh pad. It went about 40 metres to the right of your screen there. So 2 leg byes to start. Good bit of shape there for Sana.
This might be the first time you've seen Kalim Sana live and in person, Corey.
Live and in person, yes.
He is incredibly skillful. Keep your eyes on, he can, the drop of a hat, swing it either way. His in-swinger is as good as his away swinger. And when he gets the away swinger going to the right-handers, it's not just holding its line, it goes. And that's why that slip is in place. And there's no shortage of pace either. Speaking to a few of the Dutch batters, they think he's by a distance the pick of the Canadian attack.
Yeah, I've been really impressed with this wicket as well. Nice to see that carry through. It always makes a fast bowler feel pretty excited as that one hits the keeper's gloves pretty hard. So, Kalim Sana, left arm seam bowler. Good contest this against Levitt and O'Dowd, especially Levitt. Levitt's the one that the Dutch, they rely on him to get him off to a good start.
Goes at it, doesn't he? In the first power play, he attacks.
Doesn't muck about.
2 fielders outside the circle, deep backward square on the leg side and deep third on the off. Inside edge. It's a 6-3 field, 6 fielders on the offside, including the slip, and just 3 on the leg side. Now, what we did see through the ODIs, Corey, for Canada was great individual performances. Sana a couple of times, Sad Bin Safar with the ball too, Dylan Hayliger at points, and Harsh Thacker with the bat, Aaron Johnson with that one flying 50 up at Voorburg. What we didn't see, and this is an understatement, was good periods of team play, good periods of fielding. They never really managed to apply any team pressure. They've got 2 good individual performances again today to get them to 152. Can they play better as a team to defend this total? That, for me, is what's going to decide this contest.
Yeah, it's going to take an all-round performance to beat a very good Dutch side on home soil. Levitt, how was Levitt's 50 over series? Obviously, I was a bit away, so I didn't get to see. How was his 50? Because I know in the World Cup, he went into that World Cup top of his form and probably didn't have the results that he would have liked after a blistering tri-series in Nepal earlier in the year, and his T20 form was high. Went to the World Cup, didn't go the way he would have liked. Was he showing signs of getting that power back for the 50s?
Yeah, he got 2 good scores, 45 and 33. He also got a decision that I don't think he liked in the first one in Rotterdam. It was off Kalim Sana, funnily enough. guided away for the first runs off the bat. Flies down to Jeremy Gordon, who's one of 3 changes for the Canada 11 back into the team. Out go Pargat Singh and Aditya Radharan, who is there. Both of those are out of the squad. They've flown back home. And also out is Rishiv Joshi, the left-arm seamer. In come Ryan Pathan, who did a day to forget with the Golden Duck. Ravinder Pal Singh, that was a good move to get him back into this format. And Jeremy Gordon, 3rd change for Canada. He was given out off a, what was adjudged an inside edge onto the thigh pad. And such was the pace of Sana, went all the way to backward point.
Oh, wow.
He's quick. He's not just skillful, he is quick. And look at that. Oh, how good a delivery is this? Not out is a decision. He was convinced. An outstanding take from Sherius Mova, who has been exceptional with his glove work throughout this tour. And the umpire says it's hit the pad.
Oh, what a delivery this is. This comes back a long way, and there's a bit of daylight there. Looks like it's just kissed the sort of thigh of O'Dowd, or top of the pad maybe. Definitely not out for me, but what a delivery to cop early. First over complete, Netherlands, 3 for none.
Oh, this is an outstanding, this is close to unplayable. Look at the late movement. That's what makes Sana so brilliant. You think if you're O'Dowd, that's coming to 5th stump, and then it jags back in. And I have to say, it's an exceptional umpiring decision, because there'll have been a noise, it's hit something, but I think you're right. I think it's hit the bottom of the thigh pad. How good a take was that from Sherius Mova?
You've told me about his keeping before we got on air today and said he's been outstanding. If not, he's actually out-kept Scotty Edwards.
He's out-kept him by quite a bit in this series. I'm not saying career-wise. Scott's as good as there is, but he has been brilliant. He's been the one consistent performer on the tour. Such a good cricketer to have in the lineup. Jeremy Gordon should enjoy a little bit of extra pace and bounce in this pitch. Could not believe he didn't play the final ODI. He's definitely in the veteran stage of his career, and he'll have a big role to play today. We'll run a quick single. There's every chance the Dutch are going to be under pressure here, isn't there?
Oh, I think so. I think they'll be feeling a little bit twitchy in that dugout, because it was a very uncharacteristic 20 overs. There was some fielding mistakes, there were some extra mistakes, and that's not the norm for them. So they'll be feeling a bit twitchy. They'll know they should be only chasing probably 120 to 130. Now, they're professionals. They'll be hoping that they've put that behind them and they can focus on the runs, but not going to be easy against this Canadian team that at the T20 World Cup showed their prowess.
And it is a way you'll often see this on multi-format tours with full members. You'll see that one side goes into a horrible phase of form. So we see the 2 catchers in play.
Very interesting field. 7 and 2. 7 on the offside and 2 on the leg
I
side.
thought you were saying 7th slip to me. I was trying to work out your hand signal.
I don't think I've seen a 7-2 field in a T20 for a very long time.
Yeah, he bowled at this in the ODIs. And his natural movement's away. And he also, what he's saying is he's not going to go anywhere near the stumps. So it becomes a bit predictable as to where the ball's going to go. There's no doubt. But if you've got the control and the experience, like Gordon has, you can bowl to it.
Yeah, it's sort of a... I've not seen this in T20 for a very long time. So you've got the first slip, maybe second slip, and then also I'd say that's more a 3rd or a 4th slip.
Now, is this an edge? Umpire asked the question again. I think it's another one off the thigh pad. Challenge for O'Dowd. Yes, he was the leading run scorer in the series for the Netherlands by a distance, but he had some really slow starts. And that 150, 7.5 and over is manageable. As soon as that becomes 8, 9, 10 and over in the required run rate, the game becomes a game of pressure and scoreboard pressure.
Yeah, Max is a player that definitely can switch through gears, but does take a few balls to get himself in. He can take a few dots early in his innings.
And that is nearly a wide, and Levitt, the non-striker's end, extends his arms. He needs to be careful. Nitin Bathi is the standing up at that end. The Dutch, I think they're in trouble here.
Well, it's a dream start this for Canada. They took all the momentum in the end of the first innings. 11 deliveries here, only 4 runs on the board. 2 of them were leg byes. They'll be pretty happy indeed.
You think about the consistency you'll get from the 4 overs of Sad Bin Safar. There's no doubt about that. I suspect we'll see Harsh Thacker bowl 4-2. Then you've got Hayligger to come. It's a formidable bowling lineup, and Max O'Dowd just cannot find anything like the centre of the bat. 2 have been bowled, it's 4 for none. And it's really the first time in 5 games on this tour that Canada have actually been ahead in a game. They nearly dragged themselves miraculously back into the second ODI against USA. That was a 125-run 8th wicket partnership that almost pulled the game back from the jaws of defeat. They're the 3 teams we have here. And a reminder, Vivian Kingma has gone off early. I'm not sure if we'll see him with the bat.
No, more than likely, I don't think you would, unless there was maybe 1 run to win. So, yeah, great start this for Canada. Levitt and O'Dowd just trying to find their mojo here. Still a very aggressive field setting as well. They've got to slip in. They've got a gully in just off the sort of edge of your screen there. So Canada sniffing a wicket.
Aaron Johnson it is at first slip, and then Nicholas Curtin. It's kind of almost a 4th slip rather than a gully,
Yeah,
is
it's a tough 4th slip and gully. There's only probably half a metre in it, but cricket terminology's got to decide that one.
Got to see where this 7th slip is. I haven't seen one of those. Was it Australia Zimbabwe in that game years ago?
Yes.
Where they stuck everyone in an ODI. Sana's got a bit of a head of steam. The wind behind him, but he's clattered through the covers, and the outfield should be quick enough for it just about to get to the boundary. It's the first boundary. Ripples of applause around the ground, and that will just give the Dutch a bit of a sigh of relief. They're underway.
I know it's a game of small margins, but do you think they're being a bit over adventurous with the gully? That easily could have been another fielder in the ring on the offside. You've got 150 on the board, and it actually takes the pressure off, because if that extra man was there, maybe it's a dot.
That's the exact change that Curtin's now made, and you can almost see from his body language, he goes, maybe I got greedy. You do want to look for wickets though, and particularly when you got the skills of Sana. I'd rather a captain always errs on the positive side, so I'm not going to criticise that, but understand your point. He's amazingly skillful, isn't he? And there is, for me, I've watched a lot of them now, live and on the television, on these streams around the world, like you're watching live on the European Cricket Network. There's close to no change of action to the away swinger to the in swinger. I don't think you can pick it.
Pretty crafty skill to have. There's not too many. I'm trying to think of old left arm seam bowlers that could take it both ways. Mullally a little bit.
Alan Mullally.
He used to take it a little bit both ways, but he's got some genuine pace about him.
But Bolt can do it. Trent Bolt can do it, definitely. The supercomputer, that's the little win predictor you see at the bottom of your screen. It says 60-40 Canada. You have to remember, for the Dutch, they're on home soil, but it's the first T20I they've played here. Would you read into that at all? They're all experienced here because of the top classer.
It's been a while since they've played T20 cricket together, since the World Cup, obviously, and they came home from that World Cup sort of feeling a little bit like they'd let themselves down. They really felt like they should have been South Africa and they should have been Bangladesh, and they didn't. So it's sort of it's the next sort of year is finding their best T20 mojo again for the qualifier, for the regional qualifier. So it's an interesting time, and with new faces in this lineup, it's opportunity. There's a lot of opportunities that are going to come up for Dutch players in the next year or so to hone in your T20 skills and potentially get a starting spot.
Again beats the outside edge. Will they be tempted to go with 3 from Sana? That's definitely a decision for Curtin, isn't it? He's so good at the death, it's probably more likely they'll hold 2 back, but he's got a real head of steam up here.
Maybe these 2 deliveries here might dictate that. If there's a 4 and a single or something like that, you might say, look, good start, let's hold the 2. But if he's to bowl another 2 jaffers, because he looks like he's got some very good rhythm, then I'd be potentially going to the well and giving him the 3rd. O'Dowd's probably feeling a little bit twitchy now, 0 off 7. He'd be dying to get one out in the middle.
Remember what happened to Klein when they didn't bowl him out early? Got hammered at the death. Sana's a bit of a different proposition at the death, having said that. Tickled round the corner, it will be the boundary that, well, Max O'Dowd desperately needed. He was none off 7. In fact, it's leg buys.
Oh, I actually thought there might have been a bit of bat on that. Let's have a closer look.
Right.
Well, it's one of those optical illusions. I'll let you call. Is that leg buys, or was there a bit of bat or glove on that?
Very wooden sounding outer thigh pad or inner thigh pad. Don't have the stump mics in and all that stuff. So
I'll tell you what, I think whoever decides player of the match, leg buys could be a little bit of a dark shot here.
what we do at the ICC events, the match officials decide it there, and we go 3-2-1. Leg buys could be on the podium. Another one. That's the outswinger, and it beats the outside edge. O'Dowd wasn't in the same parish as that one. He was nowhere near it. 3 have been bowled, 13 for none. And the question really for Nicholas Curtin is, does he want to use one of his trump assets, his prized assets early? There's the batting order. Is that the way we'll see them line up?
Yes. I don't see any changes there. Maybe they'll be tempted for Edwards to go ahead of Zach Cachet if the spin is on in the middle because of his experience. But in saying that, obviously a lot of series these years are for rankings and whatnot. This one's actually more of a discovery for these teams. They both have qualifiers next year, right? So I think you'd still want to try and give Zach Cachet a go at 4. Maybe try and learn a few things. If you do lose, you never want to lose a game, but it's not the end of the world. So I do think you'll see Vikramjit Singh next, and I'd like to see a bit of Cachet at 4.
Gordon's going to continue, and he's got protection out there. That's how it's been so far. You've got to give credit, don't you, to Canada. Whatever happens today, at least they're finally being a bit more like the Canada we thought we would see throughout this tour, and that we've seen throughout the rest of 2024. They were exceptional. You have to remember, in Dubai, winning 4. All 4 away from home in difficult conditions against the reigning champion Scotland and the UAE. And then the World Cup, I thought they showed plenty of promise and moments of real quality. I thought they should have beaten USA in the opening game. I thought just one bad over completely changed the momentum of all of that around the 9th or 10th over, and then Aaron Jones did what he did. They did beat Ireland. They deserved to beat Ireland in New York on a difficult pitch. And then they've come here and they're just looking altogether different side.
Yeah, they're looking for a pretty good package here. O'Dowd feeling the pinch, needs one out the middle.
Oh, that's a beauty. Look at the movement. Max O'Dowd in a T20I. Well, he's got none off 11, and I cannot remember that happening to any opening batter, really.
Uncharacteristic as well, because O'Dowd's got a pretty good knack of finding the boundary early in his innings. Not today so far, and he'll be feeling the pinch now. He'll know that it's time to either hit out or get out and get the ball rolling. He's come down the wicket the last few deliveries. I'd rather see him go maybe the other way. Stay deep and get that bat on it.
It'll be a wide down the leg side. They think of running the extra, but Mova's very quick as always. One of the points I suppose to get across is that this is a home ground for 2 of the players here, Max O'Dowd and Scott Edwards. They've moved down. It's not in the top class at the moment.
No, so they've used to play their cricket at VOC Rotterdam for a good healthy 5 years and then made the move to Kampong, and it does look, well, they're going to be in the final to get promotion up into the top class again.
What's that, the Hoofdklasse?
The Hoofdklasse.
Hoofdklasse.
You've got the Eersteklasse and then the Overhandsklasse, so there's plenty of classes.
Finally O'Dowd gets something going, and it's a glorious stroke. It's gone all the way for 6. It's a funny old game. You're none off 11, and then you hit the most amazing shot over extra cover all the way.
Yeah, that's a lovely shot. What a way to open your account. He had 11 looks at the cherry, and this time he decided to cash in. And yeah, it is a funny old game, cricket. You can get squared up one ball and then play an inside-out drive for 6 over cover the next.
The thing I back about it though, and again, if you're just tuning in, we've got a heavy breeze piling in that direction. So he's hitting with the wind, got it up into it. And as a consequence, got it all the way for 6. Good carry again on this surface. I think the ground staff will be delighted with whatever happens from here today.
Yeah, I think Sebastian, Ben, the Mark, everyone here at Kampong Cricket, it's a really nice wicket. The ball is kissed through beautifully today, and it's a sort of wicket that if you get yourself in, there's runs to be had, really. Just a couple of balls in this over Gordon going down the leg side, and they are going to pull out the gully now, maybe give a little bit more protection on the leg side. I think that's the right call as well. Try and win the over and get out of this power play without too much damage. You can see just with that 1-6, all of a sudden it just goes back to a 50-50 on the supercomputer.
That does show how closely fought this contest could well be. Don't think either side is going to win this game comfortably, whatever happens from here. And isn't that a great way to start the series? USA will be watching on from the team hotel about 30 minutes away from here. Good to see Stuart Law and his men come into action tomorrow. I'm so looking forward to seeing Andreas House in particular. He was exceptional during the World Cup.
I think they had a few players that were just exceptional. They were the story of the World Cup, to be fair. And yeah, very exciting to have them play on the ECN network for the very first time. A lot of people will be tuned in.
Quick single's going to round out Gordon's second. It's 24 for none. The Netherlands just building something. very welcome along to the coverage. We're really enjoying bringing you these live pictures from Kampong in Utrecht. It's a fantastic sports facility, a couple of cricket grounds, countless number of hockey and football fields to go alongside it. Over 6,000 playing members, one of the biggest sports clubs anywhere in Europe. You say USA were the story of the World Cup. What about Afghanistan? Oh, semi-finalists for the first time.
I agree with what you're saying there, but I think there is like almost they've progressed so quickly and so rapidly, Afghanistan. It's sort of an expectation to that now. Whereas for me, USA, I know they beat Bangladesh in the series leading up to it. You and I were following the scores down at Scheveningen there while we were having a nice little afternoon that night. But yeah, I think they were the story of the World Cup for me, the way they went about it. And I think it's a very exciting sort of summer to have USA playing on Dutch shore. So for me, they were the story. For others, it might be Afghanistan.
I'm sure there's some Afghan fans in the chat who'll let you know.
Well, they'll let me know, all right.
Here comes the first change. We won't see a third of Kaleem Sana. We will see Dylan Hayliger, who we didn't get to see with the bat. Looking forward to watching him in this format where he's got a great record down the order. But he was not needed thanks to Ravinder Pal Singh's heroics. Slip remains in place as Canada look for the early wicket. Isn't forthcoming just yet. If you do have any questions, drop them in there into the chat. Karthik Raghavan, great to have you with us. Where are they playing? The ground is called Kampong here in Utrecht. What's Utrecht? Probably the 4th or 5th biggest city? Something like that?
Population-wise or size-wise? Size-wise, it's actually probably one of the smallest. It's very small indeed.
I suppose population, your Amsterdam, Rotterdam,
The Hague.
Den Haag,
yeah,
and maybe here.
But I'd say Utrecht has the reputation of probably being the most beautiful. It is a gorgeous city out here in the Netherlands.
Good strike from O'Dowd. It's very nearly going to go all the way, and what a piece of fielding. Oh, take a bow, sir. Look at that. One bounce. Oh, he's going to wave to the crowd too. Thank you very much. I think he's saved some damage in the corporate tent.
Yeah, he might have saved a few VIPs who had the shandy out. That was a great bit of fielding, and there he is, a bit of one hand, one bounce, and well done to that man on your screen. Well, O'Dowd now starting to tick. He was none off 11, playing some catch-up now.
Leading edge is going to go down to third. Oh, that's why you come and watch the cricket in person. Moments like that. How happy is this man over on the sidelines? Oh, we didn't quite see it there, but it was flying, wasn't it?
It was flying. He went back down, took his seat, put his hand up, waved to the crowd, and he did his job. That ball was humming as well. It's a pretty good stop.
Only thing he was missing was, like, did you ever see the one of the cameraman in Australia? The crowd catch, I think it was the MCG. He's taken it one-handed and he sat back down. He's had a sup of his beer. Oh, that's monstrous. The biggest of the day. An almighty strike. That's what Levitt brings. And Hayliger, who's probed away on that kind of a length during the ODI series with good reward, he's deposited all the way for 6.
This is what we're talking about, and you made a really good point. Could they have gone to 3 overs of Sana at the top because the pressure was there? He's the strike bowler. In the end, they decided to make a bit of a change, and well, that one's been hit into the canal. I think they're going to need a new one. I know there's a lot of water that surrounds the grounds here, and I think it will be a different ball needed.
Nice to hear from Kimi Ahawalia, who's saying he's so happy to see Jeremy Gordon bowling. I agree with you, very popular guy. Also, a question from Kroom. He's asking, I think Corey, you just touched on this a little bit, but how much will teams like USA and Canada come in here to European soil where they haven't come all together too often? How much will it help spread the game?
I think it helps massively. I think a lot of people will be tuned in to the ECN network watching Canada and USA live on it. It's a very exciting time. I also love this. The old briefcase with all the kookaburras coming out. That was absolutely hammered. And it is a funny sort of quirk in the Netherlands. Around every ground there is canals somewhere, so that one's gone into the abyss. But no, it's fantastic having teams of this profile on the network and playing on European. So I think we had the Thailand women's team come out a few years ago, Jersey. We've had so many good teams now playing international cricket here in Netherlands and being able to stream it globally. It's beautiful.
It's really important, isn't it? And we can see with the scale of interest, over 5,000 concurrently watching right now live on the European Cricket Network. It's great to have your company with us. My name's Andrew Leonard. I've got Corey Ruckers with us, providing all of the local knowledge, and it really is local. You don't live altogether too far from here.
I think you and I are going for a nice walk home after, honestly. Just out back, maybe about 5 minutes.
Through the trees, is it?
You could go through the trees, but we'd have to swim across the
canal.
canal.
I think that's the river there, then there's a canal to the right, is it? Hooked away, man out there who does well. Now Canada, well, to say they were really disappointing in the field wouldn't explain it. And I'm delighted to see, I'm pretty sure it's Dilpreet Bajwa down there, who was maybe the worst offender. He saved 2 runs for his team this time.
Yeah, brilliant fielding, isn't it? Saves 2. Big Superman dive. And, well, Bajwa saving 2 in Netherlands. Well, it was just a sedate first sort of 15, 16 balls. They're up and running now.
You'd think the pace is going to have to come off the ball. The spinners will need to come into the game. He gets away with this one. 5 have been bowled, 38 for none. The Netherlands coming to life in this chase. And yeah, reminder, any of those questions, if you want to get them into the chat. Nice to hear from Saju and Rian, Abid Hassan, Ankush Shah, and Jishu Goswami. Lovely to hear from everyone in the chat. Big shout out to all of you. And that's what's coming up. Tell us about this one.
Yeah, so this is the Meltool Shield that's on the network tomorrow. It's the best of Europe versus the British and Irish Roses, who are players from Ireland, Scotland, Guernsey, Jersey, and sort of those countries, and put together the best women's players, and they're going to be playing over in Rome. Beautiful Rome. 9 T10 matches, and you've got 9.
Wow.
Rabin Rijk, Rijke Iris Vueling from the Netherlands will be there.
Are they playing 5 in one day there?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Don't you worry, we churn them out.
We saw the squads, we might see them again later. They're deep squads.
Very big squads.
Probably not everyone will play all 5. That would be a big ask, wouldn't it?
You'd hope not, but you never know on the ECN.
It is going to be the spin we thought might come into the attack. It'll be Harsh Thacker. Now he'll have the challenge of bowling to the 2 right-handers, so as a consequence he'll come around the wicket trying to close those angles off. It's a ring field on the offside alongside the slip. 5 fielders there, the 2 in the deep, long on and deep backward square where this is going to go towards, but he won't be able to cut it off. It's going to be 1 bounce 4, and just as if like that, the Dutch have flicked the switch, gone through the gears, and O'Dowd pounces on this one.
Oh, they've sort of awoken the sleeping giant. O'Dowd, remarkably, was 0 off 11. He's scored 16 off his last 5 balls, and well, this is the O'Dowd we know.
Goes into the air. I think he's going to get away with it, and it's actually going to run away off the turf and run for 4. Did not get this out of the middle. It was chancy. You can see what he's trying to do to take advantage of the men all being up on the offside. He gets back-to-back boundaries, but it's a bit streaky.
It's a little bit streaky, but I think it's decent match awareness. He realises this is the last over of the power play. It's a right-arm off-spinner. I'm a right-hand batter. Let's go. Let's try to take this down. If he can take this over for 15, 20, they're in complete control.
Yeah, all of a sudden, it's heavily favouring the home side. The supercomputer, 75% favourites. Wickets will change that, and will change it quickly. Saad bin Safar might be the one who'll have to provide them. For Canada, they've been guilty of this in the ODIs. They've gone very flat very quickly.
Unfortunately, that 5th over, there was too many short balls that got pumped away, and that sort of deflated them a little bit. They've got to stay hungry here and stay with it, because 1 or 2 wickets here, you get into that middle order, you never know. Be interesting to see here if Levitt tries and takes down the last few balls of the power play.
Saad bin Safar is warming up. I suspect we'll see him bowl the first one out of the power play.
He's a very, very crafty bowler. Got a lot of time from him.
Does go down the ground, uses his feet nicely. Big gap out there, but he didn't quite get it as well as he'd like, so he'll just pick up a couple.
2 more to the total. That will conclude, well, the power play. It was Canada's for the first 2 overs, but Netherlands have come roaring back. 6 overs complete here at Kampong in Utrecht. The score is 49 for none. Nice compliment in the chat from Woz. He says he's watching from Africa and enjoying all the commentary. Thanks, Woz. And good to have so much interaction on the chat. I know that there's a nice part of the ECN network that we get to talk to the viewers. Little M watching from Arnhem. He's saying Hup, Holland, Hup, which means come on, Holland, come on.
How is your Dutch, Corey?
Yeah, spreken Nederlands, een beetje. Just speak a little bit.
Good on you. Good on you. Certainly more than I do. I think I've just got my Well, Birds keeps giving out to me. Dankyval?
Dunkerville. Yeah.
Yeah.
I ain't beach to Dunkerville. There you go.
Yeah.
That'll usually hold you in good stead in many places around the Netherlands.
I have to say, and I mean this very much as a compliment to the Dutch people, the quality of English they speak,
It's best in the world.
it's ludicrous.
But
It's better than normal Irish
They are
people.
the best bilingual country in the
Oh.
world. It is remarkable. People always say, why haven't I learned enough Dutch? Well, everyone keeps speaking English to me. Bin Zaffa into the attack.
Yeah, it's incredible. And even when the occasional time I've been approached on the street throughout the 10 days or so we've been here, where someone thinks I'm Dutch. I don't know why they think I'm Dutch, because everyone in Netherlands has beautiful, long, flowing hair. They'll say something to you in Dutch as the 50 comes up in the 7th. And then as soon as you even begin your response, you go, oh, sorry, you speak English, obviously. And I just say, I do, but I have to assure you I'm not English. Please don't hold that against me. I'm Irish, and there's a great affinity between the Irish and the Dutch. There's no doubt. Got one little story for you about Irish and Dutch people. This one's hit down the ground. There was I can't remember which football tournament it was. It might have been, it was either Italia 90 or Euro 88, where they played against each other, and all of the other teams you were worried about there being violence between the fans. And the Dutch and the Irish got on so well together. The police ended up just leaving them to it, and there's this great video footage of them all in a fountain together. It might have been in Rome or something. As many Dutch as there was Irish, all hugging each other, and they've got a great. We saw the Dutch fans during the Euro 2024 as well, didn't we? I think both countries feel of themselves of having some of the best fans in the world, whatever the sport.
Yeah, they've got that famous song, Jump to the Left, Jump to the Right, and basically the ground shakes. The ground really shakes. It was the Euros this year, everyone was right behind the team. It was an amazing event. For the Netherlands, they do have some good support. Even though it's a small Dutch cricket community here, only 5,000 playing and active members, it is a very tight-knit family, and they do get behind the national team in a big way.
I reckon I watched about 500 of those videos of it was the bus, wasn't it? There was a supporters bus, and they went along, and usually some character up at the top. I think he might have been the guy who was wrote the song, who was kind of instructing them to go to the left or to the right. And then these like mock statues of Ruud Gullit and Johan Cruyff, and oh, that's monstrous.
Oh.
Wave goodbye to that one, Corey. All the way for 6.
Oh, brute power, and Levitt has really made a name for himself at the top of the order. That is smoked. That's a big 6. That lake out there, or the canal, or whatever you want to call it, I think we're going to get the briefcase back on, so it went a long way. 60 for none after 7.
Well, even Sad Bin Safar being given the treatment, and just been a good playing surface, isn't it? There's been not too much turn in it. There's been good pace and bounce and carry, and we thought 150 might be quite competitive at the halfway stage. That was as much because of the Dutch struggles with the bat as anything of late. But, well, we said the openers would be key, and they're showing us how good they are right now.
It was always going to take a couple of early wickets to really reinforce that 150, and it hasn't happened. Netherlands actually weathered a little bit of a storm at the start there. It was 2 overs, and you never you rarely see a player be 0 off 11 still going now on 23 off 22, but they rode the wave, they backed themselves, and now this Dutch opening pair have got them off to a good start. If one of these two bat deep, you'd imagine that they will take the team home. 93 required off 78.
Edged away and taken. And O'Dowd is furious. Can't remember a reaction like that from him. It's come off a leading edge, and that's really well held, athletically leaping forward like a salmon, wasn't he, Dylan Hayliger? Good catch, and the crucial breakthrough for Canada.
Oh, Canada needed that. They needed something. It's a brilliant catch at point. Match awareness to sneak in there and make sure he takes it with both hands. And no doubt he'll be frustrated because he looked good in his last sort of 10 minutes. A little thick edge that flew to point, and the first wicket will go down.
I was just about to say to you, but I had to wait for the ball to be bowled. I was just about to say, every single time throughout the ODI series, one side looked like it was getting on top. Something changed from nowhere. And this has come from nowhere, isn't it? The two were looking so comfortable. Great credit to Hayliger, because he'll have been unsighted from that. He won't have expected it to come towards him. And often in the ODIs, we saw Canada pulling out of catches like that. So, big moment, and critically it gets the left-hander to the crease, which the off-spinner will enjoy, and just gives a little bit of an inroad and a bit of hope for Canada. O'Dowd's caught for 23 off 23. It's 60 for 1.
Yeah, he'd be frustrated, O'Dowd. He looked good in those last sort of 10-15 minutes of his innings, just trying to drop it into the leg side where there was a huge pocket of space, but got the leading edge. Does bring out Vikramjit Singh, who is a beautiful timer of the ball, but starting against right arm off spin for him is never that easy. So have Canada just slightly reopen that door. They'd love to get a couple of wickets here and maybe get into the debutant and a few others in this middle order.
Now, Vikramjit Singh did nothing but get starts during the ODIs and look really good doing it. They want a bit more than that from him today and in the T20I series. For those who might not have seen Vikramjit Singh before, Corey, can you explain how good he has the potential to be?
Yeah, he's probably got one of the biggest ceilings. I honestly think that. He's been hitting balls since he was about 5 years old, non-stop. Brilliantly talented, still maturing. I'd have to say, out of all the Dutch batters, the best timer of the cricket ball, has played some remarkable shots. I'd love to turn those 30s into big match-winning 50s. That's probably the next step in his development, that if he can turn all those starts into bigger scores, he'll be one of the best bats in Dutch history.
It's crazy to think he's 21.
That's what I mean. Back in the day,
Like that part of it, I actually can't believe.
he has been hitting balls for years and being touted as one of the big players coming through. And to still only be 21, he's going to be in orange colours for another 15 years.
And the rest potentially remarkable. And I have to say, the way in which I don't know, Peter Boren was he's in essence, Vikramjit Singh is a protege of Boren's from the VRA club, and this one's not been timed. Might think of a second here because it's been that poorly hit. They'll get it. But the way in which he was given that exposure throughout that Super League and showed, again, it wasn't with necessarily consistent 50s and 100s, but there was 30s and 40s against some of the best bowling attacks in the world. He never looked out of place.
I think he was hooking Rabada out of the stadium a few times, and if you're doing something like that, you've got something about you.
As always with the left-hander, there's something even more elegant and easy on the eye, isn't there? Amazing how that wickets just changed our predictor, 68-32, so 2/3 favourites. Netherlands, 64 for 1, the score after 8. Corey, the importance of T20Is, and I think one of the great moves from the ICC, not only giving all the associate sides T20I status, we've spoken about that before, but returning the T20 World Cup to once every 2 years means that you're never too far away, are you? And the talk I hear, this isn't confirmed yet, but the talk I hear is that the 2026 T20 World Cup is more likely to be early in the year than later in the year. So if that's the case, we could be only, 17, 18 months away from the next global event that any of the associates can target. They can't go to the Champions Trophy. They're not allowed at that. That's done on the rankings. So with it being a 20-team tournament, with the USA already being there, we'll see at least 8 associates at it. We could see 9 again if Zimbabwe don't get through Africa. Both of these two sides will be desperate to get back to the T20 World Cup, but I'm sure loads of sides around Europe and the Americas who want to deny them that opportunity.
Well, someone like a Bermuda will be trying to take Canada's spot, something like that. And obviously in Europe, you've got a lot of teams improving. That's a beautiful shot from Levitt. That might actually go for 4. And it will go for 4, I believe. There's a little bit, yeah, it will be 4. So they weren't too short. It's being signalled now. The batsman's still not sure, but 4 runs to the total.
Yeah, not credit to the fielder in terms of the fielding effort, but his honesty. He knew it had touched the rope, and Ravindrapal Singh immediately signalled as such.
Yeah, so you're going to have it in the regions. Bermuda will push Canada. You're going to have next year in Holland, for Holland, Italy and Jersey. You can't write them off, and whoever wins Group C as well. So just goes to show the T20 format has really grown the game, and I'll steal another 2 here. It's grown the game, and because there's, as you're mentioning, fixtures so regularly, this is upskilling the more lesser-known nations because they're playing a lot more regularly.
Yeah, and the biggest point I was making ahead of that World Cup, you know, and which all associate cricket fans were looking forward to that World Cup being the first 20-team one. Anyone who loves the emerging world of the game, the developing world, it was so transformational. It was exactly what I thought it would be. But the point I was making to so many of the pundits I met out there, the commentators, the journalists, is that this is really the first World Cup. You cannot include 2015 when the associates were well prepared. But Ireland had played a handful of ODIs in the 4 years in between. It was the first World Cup where you had all the associates going to it, who played a huge amount of cricket for the period building up to it. And that's credit to the ICC, credit to the ACC, credit to the boards themselves. Like, Uganda played more fixtures than anyone in the 2 years. Building into that, why did they qualify? Because they knew their game. They're playing their game well. That one's delivered from a bit further back by Saad bin Safar. 9 have been bowled, 72 for 1. The difference in this cycle of Cricket World Cup League 2, the last time we very ad hocly and very occasionally had 1 or 2 T20Is stapled onto a series, but because of the COVID fixture backlog, that was never a consistent thing. It was never a every time thing. This time around, it's going to be more often than not. So the ODI is 36 each that all the sides will play, all 8 will play. That accounts for 9 series. You'll play 3 at home, you'll play 3 completely away, if that makes sense, then you'll play 3 in a neutral. In essence, you're playing 6 away, but they're the kind of fixtures that will be made up. Some of those games, like USA Canada here, they're kind of neutral ODIs held on Dutch soil. And the vast majority of those series is now going to have T20I stapled into. So I think what we're going to see in India and Sri Lanka in 2 years' time is an even better prepared group of associates, because the preparation they had prior to this World Cup was loads of cricket, but a lot of it was ODI cricket for the very best associates. Someone like a Uganda, who's not in Cricket World Cup League 2, predominantly played their T20Is against their African rivals. Nick Curtin into the attack here. He's driven away. Oh, that's a stylish stroke, and the diving effort in the field will be in vain, going to his weaker side.
It's a beautiful stroke, and that's what we're talking about. Vikramjit Singh, one of the better drivers of the cricket ball and timers of the ball. Beautiful shot from the left-hander.
So I think there is the adjustment to the conditions in India and Sri Lanka, which will be alien to some of the associates that may qualify. Obviously not the Asian sides like a UAE or a Nepal or an Oman. As now goes down the ground, he's got a good piece of this hitting with the wind, and it's going to be back-to-back boundaries. They're part-time off breaks that Curtin bowls. Singh goes at him immediately.
Oh, he's come out with some serious intent. It's over pitched, and he says thank you very much, and nothing better than hitting it near the sight screen. 1 bounce 4, back-to-back boundaries, and Canada need to stem this run rate.
So Corey, for me, I think there's a chance that the associates, I think they did well in the USA and the Caribbean. The casual cricket fan will say they did exceptionally. I think there's a potential within the next group of associates that go there to do even better and actually do the way in which we know that they can perform. Now the slog sweep, well, he's taking him apart here. 4-4-4, another good piece of fielding outside the rope.
Oh, look, you've got to have some class to play a shot like that. Just slog sweeps it across this outfield. 2-3 bounces, hits the rope, one hand, beautiful fielding again. The fielding from the supporters today has been pretty impressive.
Off the rope as well. Going to come over the wicket now. Netherlands taking this game away, aren't they?
I have a feeling the Netherlands here, Lenny, have actually showed us how true a batting wicket it is. It's been flying through, and well, it actually makes me look back at Kyle Klein's 3 wickets. At the time, we were trying to understand what's a good score, what's a pass score. Obviously, we didn't have much of a metric to go on. But maybe that 3-over burst from Kyle Klein at the start might be the difference between the two sides.
Yeah, 4 overs, 3 for 10 he had at one point. Sorry, 3 overs, 3 for 10.
Remarkable.
And then his last one went the distance. Yeah, he's definitely going to be in the mix for a player of the match if the Dutch get home. It's a slap down the ground, and Aaron Johnson is not the swiftest mover. And he's gone to his left, he's got there, and then he's ended up in a heap. It's going to be 4 more.
Yeah, lovely shot from Levitt this over, really breaking the back of the Canadians. And yeah, at this level, it's a bit unacceptable. Got a good question coming in from Michael Dabb, and maybe you can elaborate on it, Lenny. Asking, all the players on our screens right now, are they all professionals? Can they live financially through their careers of cricket?
Yeah, look, it's a great question, and it's one of the things that, if you're trying to understand how incredible these players are, not all of them will be professional. Some of them will be. KNCB have done a great job to try and get some home-based players onto contracts to give them some certainty of earnings. Canada's, again, it's a mixed bag. Plenty of them have got other jobs that they have to fulfill as well.
This is a little bit coming up tomorrow. So more international cricket on the network. So that is actually the MCC women's have flown over to Malta, taking on the Greece women. Serbia women taking on Malta women, and Greece women taking over Isle of Man women. It's the Valletta Cup. And that's out in Malta, brought to you live by ECN. So if you do want to tune in, it'll be live on our website or live on YouTube.
3 T20Is in a day there.
Pump them out.
Well, there you go.
lot of sun in Malta. Have you been to Malta?
No, I've heard nothing but good
Unbelievable.
things. Yeah, I've got some friends there. That one's going on the bucket list, definitely.
Great for the women's game and those new countries coming through to have their women's playing live on the network.
Yeah, we saw the highly publicised story of Sarah Netravalkar working as a software engineer by day and removing some of the best cricketers in the world then during the World Cup. And that's something that occasionally will frustrate me as a big advocate of the emerging game. When you'll see a game at a World Cup, there was a few heavy defeats. There was always going to be. Uganda in particular went down to a couple, but they also took their first ever win. And this is David versus Goliath probably doesn't sum it up when you've got a Uganda versus an India. It's not even within the realm of possibility in terms of infrastructure, in terms of playing opportunities, facilities, coaching. Sliced away, and it's going to be sliced away for 4 more. Vikramjit Singh, he's off to a hot start. He's into the 20s already.
That one wasn't out the middle, but the intent from Vikramjit Singh, he's basically come out and said, well, you know what, if I get off to a fly here, I'm going to kill this chase. And he's really done that. He's 21 off 10. They only need 58 off 58. But no, I get what you're saying. Obviously, with the new sort of changes around, Lenny, with the sub-regionals and the regional qualifying, I mean, you will see mismatches from time to time, but it's the beauty of the game. I think Zimbabwe are playing Gambia soon and Seychelles.
Yeah, they've
remarkable.
They've got to go back to the sub-regional.
Unbelievable.
And that's, I think that's great to see.
Fair enough.
Okay, is there a chance of a mismatch as this one's going to challenge the boundary again? Dilpreet Bajwa, he's having a much better day. There's a man in there's a fan out there who's giving it as 4. I think the umpire's rightly ignored him. Have a look at the man in the white t-shirt here. Why is he signalling 4? It's nowhere near the right.
He's obviously a Dutch supporter out there. He's not picked it up now.
Well, he's ruthless. He said, "We know the Dutch are winning. Give it as 4." It's not giving us 4. 2 to the total. Singh is a big swing and a miss. Jeremy Gordon, who's in the team here, he works his day job. He's a senior support analyst for a bank. You know, he's working. He's taken holidays to be here to represent his country.
Yeah, I think you'd have half. I think there's only about half players on this field right now that are making a pure living off cricket. And I think there's another half that are working and playing.
And then even those who are, either whether they're working or playing or whether they're trying to play full-time, they might not be on full-time wages. They'll be just getting a fee. Where has this gone? It's gone miles up, but it's into the wind. This could be a chance, and it's put down. It's going to go all the way for 6. We said we wouldn't see many 6s hit up this direction, but that is right out of the middle of the bat, and he just about gets enough of it to get 6 more.
Well, that was a bit of a moonshot. That went miles in the air, made a beautiful sound off the bat, but the wind just kept pushing it back and back and back. But in the end, it goes for 6. Vikramjit Singh is on an absolute heater at the moment. He has come out and timed everything.
And the 100 is up in the 11th over. This game, we thought it was going to be awfully tight. Netherlands running away with it. In rapid time. 11 bowled, 103 for 1.
A little comment in the chat from Quirine Gunning, ex-fast bowler for the Netherlands, saying, can we have a shout out to Mace Gunning, his newborn son? So absolutely, congratulations Quirine and Mace.
Awesome.
That is awesome. Q was a Dutch fast bowler, debuted in Malahide back in the day.
I not only know him, I've played against him several times on the Leprechauns tours. If I remember correctly, pretty sure he got me out on one of those tours. There's a little.
He got me out in Australia once.
Yeah.
There you go. You've got the commentary box, Q. Congratulations.
We were playing at the VRA on the second ground, and even on a mat, he was too quick for me.
Yeah.
I couldn't. Yeah.
Good player.
Yeah.
Congrats, Q, and congratulations
awesome
for your new boy son.
Oh, I tell you, he could bowl. I thought he was a lovely bowler to watch. Change of ends for Sad bin Safar. Canada, well, they've had the absolute life sucked out of them for 3 overs of this chase. It looked like they were on top, and really, that's been that. Maybe the last 5 or 6 overs of the first innings, the 2 or 3 of the first. Since then, Levitt, an absolute sparkling start from Vikramjit Singh. And finally, some consistent good batting from the Netherlands, which, being honest with you, wasn't there in the ODIs. They won those 4 games mainly due to their bowling and fielding. And maybe all of those fielding and bowling errors in that first innings for the Dutch, they'll be forgotten, because this could be a very, very big win.
At the moment, it looks like they're going to do it in a canter. 97% on the supercomputer. They could basically really push this around if they wanted to, but the sort of vibe I'm getting, I think they want to finish this quickly. It is the captain's birthday after all.
Nice way to celebrate it this evening with a win and some Friday evening sunshine. These tours, they can kind of turn into annus horribilis, can't they? They can just go wrong so quickly. When you get into that habit of losing, it can be tough to break. Canada have been nowhere all trip. Inside edge. Should be a couple. Gordon will keep running his heart out. But you really, there's been so many messages we've received about not understanding why Pupadu Dasanayak isn't here yet. If you're just from the outside looking in, you know nothing about it, you would look at the results this year and seeing all of his performances, his team's performances, and you would think he's known as the associate maestro, the best coach in associate cricket history potentially. You'd find it very hard to understand why he's no longer in post.
I think there's going to be some deep conversations maybe at the end of this tour, especially if Canada don't get a win. They'll have to, a little bit of a self-reflection, self-review, as 12 overs complete, 108 for 1, but I always say a happy dressing room does take it onto the field, and you do have to wonder how happy they are at the moment.
One of the other questions today will be, are we going to see a first bat in international cricket for Zach Lyon-Cachet? Possibly not. That is the batting order that we've been given. Appreciate that from the Dutch backroom staff. Nice to see the Kleins playing together. The two brothers, always a real family affair, isn't it? Yeah, international cricket in the Associate Nations.
Q said thank you. A nice message from Sam Williams as well. He said, what a commentary combo, and hope we're both well. Sam's actually, well, he's not with the ECN at the moment. He's over as the ICC tournament director for all of the Europe qualifiers.
Yeah,
so
I heard he's done a great job in some pretty tricky conditions in Germany in particular.
Sam, if you're listening, wouldn't mind a 5-over game tomorrow morning if you can make that. Could you get that one over the line for us, Sam?
We'll be watching on ICC TV, I've no doubt about that.
Oh, that was bossed. 54-50 up. That was hammered.
Murdered, absolutely murdered. And the biggest cheer of the day, not just for the maximum, because it's also a 50. Michael Levitt has been a phenomenal discovery for this side. He's still just 21. When you meet him in person, you'll never believe it. He looks like he's in his mid-30s. He's so strong, he's so stocky, and he's already had 4 50-plus scores in T20 internationals in just 13 innings. The 2 50s, 3 50s now, including that one to go alongside that remarkable 135 he made out in Kathmandu. And when he gets going, I know he didn't quite have the World Cup he would have wanted, I think that's fair to say. And there's always going to be an adjustment up to the very best bowlers in international cricket. But boy, the world is this kid's oyster, it has to be said.
You and I, our jaws hit the ground. As soon as he struck that made such a noise through the effects mic for me. I don't know how loud you've got it turned up, but that sounded like a massive boom. And he does have the world at his oyster. He's a huge find for the Netherlands, and he's another one. And this is why the Netherlands are such an exciting prospect at the moment. They've got players that are young. They've got players that are going to play for years for them. So they've been beating some big teams around the world, and I think it's going to continue for many years to come.
Vikramjit Singh just keeps going. It's not where he wants it, but he'll be delighted with the results. I think this has gone all the way. It's another 6. Gordon being slashed away. No control, really, but the wind just piles it all the way over the rope.
This is just a dominant display from the Netherlands. You and I were talking about 150. We weren't too sure. Is it going to be enough? Is Canada well in it? After the first 2-3 overs, Netherlands were on about 5 runs, and we're thinking, well, game on. What a response from the Dutch. They're on 120 off 12.3. There's only 32 to get.
It's not the first time I've been wrong on air. It won't be the last time. I thought 150 was a really interesting contest.
So did I, to be fair.
And right now,
Oh,
just plant the egg all over my face, because Vikramjit Singh and Levitt are batting on different planets. Won't go all the way for 6 this time. They're making hay whilst the sun is shining here.
can you give player of the match to the ground staff? Because now that when you always learn a bit when you see both teams bat on it, but they've produced, this is the best Kampong wicket I've ever seen. And I've played a whole season here now. I've seen years of hickory. It's usually, traditionally, it's slow. This ball is flying.
Well, it makes an absolute mockery of the fact that the average first innings score in the 2 T20Is prior to this was 95.
What was Dan Weston doing back in the day batting on this?
It might have been a bit different. I think we got to give Dan a bit of credit. Germany, Italy, they're the only 2 games so far in this format, so it's surely going to be a winning start for the Dutch. And for Canada, well, they're left really looking at the ruins already of a match.
I can't believe they haven't gone back to Kaleem Sana. You've got your strike bowler there, who's bowled 2 overs basically for nothing. Could have had a wicket nearly every delivery, and you're going to let the game slide before he's come back.
Well, this was why I said at the time I thought they should have gone with a third from him.
But let's say you don't go with a third. About 5 overs ago when they started running right, you've got to come back. He's 2 overs are wasted.
Driven just short of Johnson, who, he's had knee problems historically, and I've got to say that looked a bit nasty. Hopefully he's going to be all right, but I'm pretty sure this has hit him in the knee. And today gone from bad to worse for Canada?
Well, I hope it's just one of those, a bit of a shock to the system. It's hit the knee, the ball, quite hard, and no one likes to see an injury. So fingers crossed he's okay. Vikramjit Singh has absolutely smashed that cover drive, but no one likes to see an injury. Let's hope he's okay.
Get one more look at it here. He just struck it so purely, isn't it? And I think it's the left knee, isn't it? He's trying to attempt the catch, and he's had some horror knee injury issues. Those I think have been kind of ligament and tendon based. This will be more of an impact injury.
That's good to see.
Yeah,
that's good to see him walking off. You're right. Hopefully it's nothing too deep or too scary as he gets up on his own accord, which is great to see.
Yeah, he's just indicating that it's hit him on the half volley, and that's exactly what happened. The other point about the 3 ODIs that were here 3 years ago, they were the Cricket World Cup Super League games. The Netherlands won a game for the ages by 1 run as Josh Little tried to scoop the final delivery and didn't make any contact. Don't think any Irish fans will ever forget that. And then Ireland won the second one, the Netherlands won the series by chasing down the 160 by 4 wickets. The highest score in 6 innings there was 195. Most of the scores are in around 140, 150. And to go from that 3 years ago to what we're seeing here today, I know it's a different format, but just I watched all 3 of those games 3 years ago. This is a different place, so great credit to everyone involved in Kampong. They've turned this pitch around in a big way.
Yeah, they really have, and very exciting. We've got 3 more games here, which is super exciting. So
imagine how good USA Netherlands could be here.
Could be a firecracker of a game.
Harsh Thacker comes back into the attack, and Vikramjit Singh plonks him over the rope. This has been a sensational innings. He's got to 46. Completely untroubled. He's attacked almost every delivery. How good has this knock been?
Yeah, 10 out of 10. I don't think he's put a foot wrong. 46 off 19. This would be right up there for some of the quickest 50s in Dutch cricket history. If he gets this one away, it could be a 50 off 20 bowls.
It's going to be 50, and it's going to be the fastest, I believe. We're going to get that checked in Dutch history. In fact, it's the second fastest behind just Stefan Myberg. And that was against Ireland back in the T20 World Cup. This has come from 20 balls, batting on another planet with 5 4s and 4 6s. Vikramjit Singh, well, you are a superstar.
Brilliant innings, just full of highlights. ECN style, the strike rate of 264 sixes, 5 4s. Since he's walked out there, Andrew, he has tried to smack every ball. And to be fair, he's gotten away with nearly everything. He's batted beautifully. And these 2 are taking them home. It's going to be an early finish. And the last 45 minutes of batting, I hate to say this, I don't mean any disrespect. It's been men versus boys, it feels like. They have basically bullied Canada out of this game.
Another lost ball as well. So that one is just 3 balls slower than Stefan Myberg's superhuman effort against Ireland in the 2014 T20 World Cup out in Sylhet, where the Dutch really only chased it that quickly because they had to. They needed to get to the target of 190 in 13.5 overs. I still don't think Irish fans could understand how they did it.
Where would that fit in the world? Get 20 balls is quick.
20, yeah, there's been plenty quicker across the history of T20Is, all the way as
True.
as fast as the quickest ever Depender Singh Iris, which will never be broken. It's impossible to break it.
There's got to be a way. You could block a ball and run an 8.
It's just not possible. I'm not. I'm not buying it. We've seen all run 5s. That's not. He got there off 9 balls against Mongolia in the Asian Games. Mongolia had never played international cricket before, so a little bit of a lopsided record. Yuvraj Singh was the previous record over 12 balls. England versus India, the T20 World Cup. But it's the second fastest Dutch one ever. It's up in the top 50 overall in the history of the game. And he's been bowled after that highly entertaining 50. Well, what a knock it's been. Entertainment, Friday night entertainment for the loyal home Dutch faithful. They loved every second of that. He's got them to within a few blows of victory and take nothing away from that knock. Outstanding from Vikramjit Singh.
Yeah, brilliant knock, and he goes one too many times to the well, but that's the way he was batting. As he'll have to depart. Brilliant knock, and he'll get a big round of applause as he comes off. A magnificent innings, and the couple hundred that have come into, well, Kampong Cricket Club, good acknowledgement. Brilliant innings, Andrew.
Yeah, really, really impressed. And we were just talking about how Vikramjit Singh needs to start turning these little good flashy cameos of 15, 20, 30 into 50 plus. He's done that today.
Surprised by this. They've not given Zach Lion Cachet a go. The birthday boy, Scott Edwards, has said, with 15 to get, I'll go out. Do you think that's one of those ones where you'd like to see the debutant have a hit, or actually the debutant's on a bit of a hiding to nothing?
Yeah.
It is true, though. The best case scenario is a 7 not out.
10 not out, yeah.
10 not out. And if you get out, then you lose a little bit of confidence.
And everybody goes, oh, he doesn't look very good out there.
yeah. So maybe the captain said, you know what? You only turned 28 once.
Yeah.
I'm going to have a bit
I'm going to have a bat. I want to hit the winning runs on my birthday. I can't believe Scotty's only 28 still.
We call him 30 at the house, so I'll let you get away with that. He's an old 28.
I want to check that birth cert. Have a look. Born in Tonga, of course, one of the...
We've actually messaged the Tonga Cricket Federation once before and said, one day you'll have another player.
Is he going to join the list of internationals who played for 2 countries?
Well, wouldn't be so. He could have been called up for Australia. There could be 3 countries one day.
Certainly has the glove ability and so many good batting performances in ODI cricket in particular. His consistency there has been outstanding. Now Levitt, what's he going to do? Is he going to look to end this quickly? He'll be happy with a bit of red ink.
Oh, I think we might be moving into red ink territory. Levitt 54. He's batted beautifully, hasn't he? Vikramjit Singh's amazing innings, all set up by Kyle Klein's burst of 3 wickets earlier today. The ball was going around corners. It was breezy, it was windy, but that spell really got them ahead. It feels just a nice little nudge into the leg side. That'll be 14 overs complete, and the score, Netherlands in control, 140 for 2.
Any positives for Canada? I know it's the first time we've seen them live on this tour, Corey. That obviously the partnership was really good. That'll be tomorrow's game, USA taking on Canada, same time, 4 p.m. local.
Yeah, I think definitely there's some positives. The captain, you have to say, played a captain's innings. I think the cameo from Ravinder Paul Singh shows the depth, and the opening bowling spell, obviously, from Kaleem Sana, exceptional. Disappointing to see him only come into the attack again now. They've wasted his extra overs, but for 3 players there, they've really shown they can mix it with the best. It's just they didn't have enough go with them. I think some of the shot options at the start of the first innings will come back to haunt them. And I don't think they'll ever have another game where Netherlands will give them 20 plus extras. So, yeah, as does look like it will be. So, let's see, this is a massive tactical error for me. Kaleem Sana, done for 6 off 2. And you're bringing him back with 13 runs to go. Where's the messaging there?
Look, it's probably not going to change the result if he's brought back 3 or 4 overs earlier, but you've got to utilise...
surely you take the punt.
Yeah, you've got to utilise your best bowlers, and he hasn't been utilised today. The difficulty is, Sadbin so far, I think his strength is ODI cricket. He's a better ODI bowler than he is a T20I bowler. They've gone so many times to the well with Hayliger and Gordon. There isn't... I do think the left-arm seamer will see him a little bit in this series, Rishiv Joshi. think he's got something there. But the other options, Akil Kumar's yet to debut. Parveen Kumar's played once. Kamar Paul Tathgor, who had it was a horror show of an ODI debut. You wouldn't wish this on anyone. He was replaced as a concussion substitute. Never even got out to bat. He's a batter. He was due to bat at 7, and in the field he had a dive. He took a nasty impact, but Sana's already shown you after 2 balls why he's really a cut above, isn't he, the rest of Canada's bowlers?
You can just tell he's got that extra yard, which is always vital to have. And yeah, I just look, Vikramjit Singh was going. Imagine 5 overs ago, you say, you know what, we're going to bring Sana back and go hit the timber, but they missed a trick, so he's come back too late for me. And unfortunately, Canada have let this game sort of slip from a position where after 3 overs, Netherlands were feeling pretty twitchy.
Max O'Dowd was none off 11.
It's very uncharacteristic for O'Dowd.
You'll be giving him a bit of stick about that later.
I think you might join me.
I certainly will if it doesn't get me into too much trouble. For tomorrow, the difference, I suppose, of the ODIs is we go back to back to back. So throughout the series, I think each of the teams will have to play 2 days in a row twice. That's a challenge within itself, particularly with the intensity of the modern T20I game.
Yeah, and that's why SNCs, physios, doctors are always on that staff now, because they know how much it does take these players, not just physically, mentally, to get up for this. So the backroom staff will have a lot of work to do. It's been a long tour for these players, and yeah, expected to be at 100% all the time.
Do have some concerning news about Viv Kingma, sadly. This is played away, going to be played away for 4. That's a good shot. It's on top of the bounce. Not many have got close to Sana. And Scott Edwards says that's how you play him.
That's a beautiful shot from Edwards. Birthday boy cashes in with the 4. The fielding, the one-handed fielding from the spectators today has been clean.
Get into your local cricket clubs, guys, if you're not already. Yeah, really lovely family atmosphere now. Lots of kids. We're seeing kids in orange shirts and hats going around the boundary, getting some autographs. I have to say the culture and the love for the Dutch cricket community from the players, it was beautiful to see at Voorburg, and VOC no different here today at Kampong. Lovely family atmosphere. Just give you that update as this one's hit away for what should be a couple, given how quick Edwards is. They might want 3 now, and Levitt is not going to take him on. But Viv Kingma's actually not just being treated by George Dunlop, the physio. He's actually been out with the ambulance crew as well. We don't want to preempt anything. We'll wait for the KNCB to announce it, but you'd be surprised if we see him again in the series, potentially.
I dare say Brandon Glover would be coming in as the replacement. And yeah, a bit upsetting to hear that for Vivian Kingma, who's had a tough time of injuries in his career in Hull. But yeah, hopefully it's not too serious, and maybe it might be a month or a couple of weeks out, best case.
Good news is, as far as I'm aware, the Dutch don't have any cricket till the Tour of Oman. Bowls him straight through. Now Sana, well, you have to say he's deserved that. We might see a first bat in international cricket for Lyon Cachet. This is an exceptional delivery.
Oh, what a delivery. It's left arm around the wicket, bowling 140 plus. Has to be. That came back a mile.
Unplayable.
Oh, no, that's not a present you want on your birthday. That is a serious delivery.
That's gone past Klein's one as the ball of the day.
Well, yeah.
That's exceptional. So, right on the verge of the end of the game, we've seen
jagged back a long
Jaffa
way.
But we wanted to say a big hello and really, well, a bit of a farewell, because this game is almost done. Andrew Leonard here alongside fantastic Corey Ruckers. Corey, I've loved having you with me. It's been so entertaining to hear about all things Dutch cricket. How happy are you as kind of a key part of the Dutch cricket community? This must be exactly what you'd expect.
Yeah, well, it's the way they go about it these days. So confident. And I was a bit, sort of in the field, was a bit surprised that they seemed a bit lackadaisical today. But with the bat, Vikramjit, Max O'Dowd, Levitt, they've done the job. We said the top 3 was very important. And now we get to see a new man in the Dutch sort of cricket community. And excited to see this.
Yeah, the youngster, he's on his his T20I debut, his first ever international cricket appearance. He's playing at Sussex. He's on contract there, a rookie contract at Sussex County Cricket Club. They've released him specially for this series. We saw him take a wicket. Can he get some runs? He's going to be at the non-strikers end to start with, but we really want to thank you all so much for watching today. There's been phenomenal numbers tuning in and enjoying this. It really has, and getting comments from Poland, from all across all parts of Europe as this one's slapped away for 4. Could be a chance of Lion Cachet not getting to face the ball here.
I think he'd take the nod out at the non-strikers there. I'll put you on the spot quickly. It's a 3-man race. Vikramjit Singh, that man Michael Levitt, or Kyle Klein. Where are you leaning here? Because you've got a pair of 50s, rapid 50s, and you've got a man that, excuse the last over, burst of 3 wickets.
We're going to have to...
That's tight.
Genuinely tight call. The podium I agree with. I don't think you can argue with the podium, and that's with a special mention for Nicholas Curtin and Ravinder Pal Singh as well. But the podium is a cert. Maybe if Levitt hits a big 6 to hit the winning runs, I might get him over the line. He battled through some difficult patches at the top, you have to remember.
Being not out helps.
Yeah.
Being not out gives you that other tick. If Vikram had got a not out as well, this is a tough one. Kyle's 3 wickets burst the game open in tough conditions.
Now it will be a single. I think Lion Cachet will say, no, I want to face 1.
Well, I said about 20 minutes ago, you don't have much to win when you come out with something. Now, there's 1 run to win. And to be fair, hitting the winning runs on your debut, that would be a nice touch.
I wonder what the conversation is here. He's saying it's 1 to win. He just might be reminded him. 26 balls left. This has been a hammering. We didn't see it coming. We thought it might be a close contest, particularly with all the stuff we absorbed in the first innings. But it's been such a good performance from the Dutch. Can the icing go on the cake? No, it can't. Oh, no. You said it's a no-win scenario. The youngster on his debut. He's gone for a first ball duck. Disaster.
That is disaster. You got nothing to win, really, coming out with 1 run to go. And he goes for a golden duck on debut. That's a bit of a shame and does sort of spoil the party a little bit. But I'm sure we'll see more of him as the series goes on. And oh, there's all. It's not a nice way to start.
It's a ruthless director right there, isn't it?
Well,
he's only 20. Or what?
A job's a job.
Oh, you can't get the golden duck logo out from. There'll be better days ahead. Andrew Balbirnie, Ireland's still Test captain, Corey. A pair on Test match debut.
That happens. I think Marvin Atapatu had 5 ducks in his first 6 innings.
And guess who had a pair on his Test match debut as well? And I had to tell Andy this. I think his dad told him. Graham Gooch went on to score 8,000 plus 9,000 plus Test runs. So the only way is up from there. Don't worry about that one, young Lion Cachet. And we will see one of the 2 Kleins come into the crease. This time it'll be Ryan Klein. We didn't see him in the ODI series.
You still haven't given me an answer yet. Where are you leaning?
You've got to stay on air. Or check out the KNCB social media channels.
I can see Pam in the background.
Get yourself in. If you're not following yet on Instagram in particular, they get great content out there. Herard, the official photographer, he's as good as there is going around. The world game, forget about just the associate game, superb. So get on there and you'll find out who the player of the match is going to be. 2 and 2. Oh, this game. I don't know where Sad Bin Safar is going, but they can't catch him. It's only 1 to win, Sad. He could be, well, he's not going to be on a hat-trick. It's his last ball. And this is, it's reminiscent of the ODIs. The Dutch sometimes don't make it easy on themselves. He's had to wait a long time for his first appearance. He too is cleaned up.
Well, just delaying the inevitable, but well bowled. Look, he's keeping it full, he's keeping it straight, he's skidding it on, and they're international wickets at the end of the day. And Ryan Klein and Lion Cachet didn't have much to win there, and they're both gone for a golden.
They're not going to be thinking they're skipper either, are they? There's the 6 bowlers used thus far. Harsh Thacker, Kaleem Sana, Sad Bin Safar, the wicket takers. The others, very expensive.
I tell you what, Saqib Zulfikar has done well to have the pads on so quickly, because I dare say 3 minutes ago, those pads would have been off.
I'd have already been in the changing room with my playing top off, I'm telling you now. Always back your teammates. I think that a couple of the things for Canada, they'll take some joy from this and some hope into the remaining 3 T20Is, but you do just have to wonder about, outside of Sana and Zafar, where are the wickets coming from? And that's a challenge. If you're relying on your 2 left armers to get your wickets and no one else, it can be very, very tricky indeed. It's 1 to win, 24 balls to do it. Levitt might well finish the inevitable and just edges name over the line for player of the match.
I think so. Only, and I mean only just ahead of Kyle Klein by maybe a whisker. A whisker.
No, I agree. And again, 3 for in a T20I. It's kind of worth a 4 or 5 in an ODI. But here comes Sana. Sana would love another wicket next to his name. Slip in place. That's Curtin. That is going to be that. They'll win it with a single and a big cheer, particularly from all the kids here. They are delighted. It's Dutch delight yet again. They've played 5 here on Dutch soil. They've won 5 and they win by 5 wickets.
Yeah, brilliant innings from Levitt to get them over the line. 62 from him. He was well supported from Frikumjeet Singh and Max O'Dowd at the start. And overall, the Netherlands, interesting sort of game, that one. They had bowled probably too many extras for their liking. They kept the control, however, throughout the innings. There was a really good counter-attack at the back end of the innings for Canada. But in the end, the top 3 clicked. They made the runs, and Netherlands, well, they romp home to a very convincing victory here in Utrecht. This is what we've got coming up tomorrow. Same time, same place, USA versus Canada. Hopefully the weather gods are good to us. I can't wait to see USA play on the European Cricket Network. That's going to be a corker.
Yeah, that's tomorrow, same time, same venue. I'm pretty sure, I'd be very surprised if it's not the same pitch, particularly after what we've seen there. It's been a run fest here. Didn't look like that at first. Kalim Sana was all over Max O'Dowd. He was none off 11. He couldn't lay a bat on anything. There was leg buys, which had a very, very productive day. But after a probing and very difficult early spell, the shackles were broken, firstly by O'Dowd, and then Levitt got on a real roll.
Yeah, and once the shackles were broken, they really got going, didn't they? They hit the ball very hard through deep mid-wicket, over the boundary rope a couple of times. And, well, Levitt, he was the man of the hour, going on to a very good not out. This was the first dismissal. Max O'Dowd would be disappointed with that, just wanted to drop it into the leg side for a single and well caught. And this brought Vikramjeet Singh to the crease, and boy, oh boy, didn't he bat well.
Oh, he was superb, and certainly a big mention for him. The second fastest 50 in the history of Dutch T20I cricket. He attacked absolutely everything. He was completely ruthless. He did get away a few of the bad deliveries. 9 boundaries, 5 4s and 4 6s. Got the occasional moment of fortune too. Again, Canada's Achilles heel continues to be their fielding, but when you're smashing them 20, 30 yards over the rope, doesn't matter where your fielders are. Levitt and Singh, simply sensational.
Yeah, it was a bit of a jaw-dropping partnership. They just got on with it, didn't they? This was just after he brought up that rapid 50, was dismissed. And actually, it brought in 4 bowls in a row, because Scotty Edwards' birthday boy, that's not a very good birthday present.
Oh, and what a delivery. The delivery of the day. Sad bin Safar then had a bit of late joy. He didn't just sprint off once in celebration, he sprinted off twice in consecutive deliveries. Maybe just a bit of frustration from what's been a difficult tour for the former captain. And lovely scenes here, because
Yeah, lovely scenes. It's nice to see this now, the players going over to the crowd.
yeah, really, really pleasing. There's a healthy crowd still in here. 300-400 people in. And we don't have a cameraman to show it to you, but I can assure you that they've got a great ovation. All of the Dutch players are going over. There will not be a single jersey or hat unsigned by the end of the day. Here's the tale of the tape. It's been a 5-wicket win. That doesn't really tell the story.
We said they had to burst through that top 3. They couldn't do it in the end. And overall, a very impressive batting display. Kalim Sana, well, him not bowling 4 overs is ludicrous to me. What a bowler, 1 for 14. As overall, Netherlands, they have romped home with victory.
Yeah, quite incredible. I don't think 5 wickets actually sums up the dominance of that victory for the Netherlands, although there is still one little concern. That middle order continues to be a bit of a worry for the Netherlands going forward. You would suspect that might be tested as they go deeper into the series, particularly the 2 games against USA, and also a very tardy day in terms of the extras from the bowlers. But the standout performers, without doubt, Kyle Klein, Michael Levitt and Vikramjeet Singh for the Dutch. And then great credit to Nicholas Curtin, Ravinder Pal Singh and to Kalim Sana for Canada. Plenty of good individual performances, but yet again it's been another day where Canada have not been able to piece together a good team performance. And as a consequence, the Dutch, for 5 in a row now, win again.
Yeah, I think you touched on it a little bit. You were saying that for Canada to win, they need a team performance. There was only 3 or 4 that stood up today. And overall, Netherlands, probably not their best day at the office, but winning's a habit, and they're in that habit at the moment.
Yeah, and you have to remember they've won with a significant number of overs to spare. I think it also sets us up beautifully for the series, particularly the 4 games here. We'll have 3 more at this Kampong ground. I just wonder, could a couple of the sides go past 200? And that's an excellent batting surface.
Yeah, from what we've seen of the wicket and actually the outfield as well, cash in. cash in. I mean, Canada made 150 and they didn't really have a top order explosion. I think Vikramjit Singh's just shown how well you can bat here, so I can't wait to see how the rest of this series goes.
Yeah, the other lovely thing about this series, it's very short and sharp. We've got 6 T20Is in 6 days. The first 4 of those, 3 more after today, will be here at Kampong. Then we'll move very quickly up to Voorburg to get everything set up in time to bring you every ball of it. You can watch it all live here for free on the European Cricket Network. They're working in partnership with the KNCB. It's been a fantastic start to the series. I think we've plenty more to come.
Yeah, I think the USA coming into it now just adds that little bit more flavour and that little bit more spice. And I cannot wait to see what they bring to the T20 format and how they play in the Netherlands for T20 cricket.
Just a quick question on Canada. Can they bounce back tomorrow? It's a very quick turnaround.
Tough. It is going to be tough. That's what's coming up tomorrow. Same time, same place. Yeah, it's going to come down to that coaching staff, the backroom staff getting around the players, coming up with maybe a few little tactical changes. And that top order has to click if they are to win tomorrow.
Yeah, they had 5 single-digit scores out of the 7 batters that were used today. It was only Curtin and Ravinder Pal Singh that stood up in any way, shape or form. And that's going to wrap it up for me, Andrew Leonard. For
Corey
you,
Ruckers, yeah.
Corey
Done
Ruckers.
for me. Back again tomorrow. Another
loved
day
it.
at work. Yeah, I've loved it. It's been
Yeah.
and just great. I know we couldn't get a camera. So many kids here today, and all the players are over there signing autograph, and that's what it's all about.
Yep. No, it's inspiring the next generation. It's what Dutch cricket is doing so well while they continue to win. Remember, fresh on the back of an amazing Olympics for them. Cricket coming into the Olympics, who knows? These Dutch boys might be out in LA 2028. Imagine that. They got to keep winning to do it. We'll be back with you tomorrow. Don't go anywhere too far. Same time, same place. European Cricket Network. Subscribe, like, follow, do all the good stuff. For me, Andrew Leonard. For Corey, it's bye for now.